I've been meaning to make this for a while now, and by meaning to make this for a while, I mean a long ass while. Um, Currently, like 2 weeks ago, like I played into an exhibition with Onion, and I lost to Onion like 7-2 or some shit, and I was like, wow, right. Well, on one hand, I played like bad, like really, really bad. I played Onion again like 2 weeks later, and I played much better. But also, like, I said something on Discord along the lines of, "Oh, well, wow, um, H-Kkohaku losing to Sats, what a surprise!" And people were like, "The matchup's not that bad." And I was like, "Do you guys know the matchup? Do you guys know the matchup? Because I don't know. Maybe you guys have played more H-Kkohaku games than me, but like Sasuke into H-Kkohaku has been bad since like fucking forever." And people were like, "Well, actually, now that you've mentioned it, I've literally never thought about the H-Kkohaku into Satsuki matchup, regardless of whether it's F Satsuki, H Satsuki, C Satsuki. I've literally never thought about that matchup." And I was like, "Yeah, well, just because H Satsuki is worse than C Satsuki doesn't mean that she's any worse than Kohaku, H Kohaku." So I decided I've had one of these for like forever, but I didn't make a video about it. I don't think. I mean, I'm going to just like Google search my channel in like a second tab in like, I don't know. Give me a second to do that. But before I do that, like the point is, I wanted to discuss and explain H-Kkohaku matchups real quick. And by real quick, I mean this is going to take fucking forever, because if you've ever seen this game's character select screen, you know that this game has like 93 characters. So because of the fact that there are 93 characters in this game, we kind of just have to be realistic with each other. Not every single character has proper representation of my skill level, so I cannot put every single. I can't talk very long about each and every single character on this list as much as I would like to. There are some characters where I should win in theory, but I've literally never played the matchup versus someone strong enough to be able to test that theory out. So this matchup list is going to be a little bit more. It's not going to have hard numbers generally. Also, if you need for some reason you're on YouTube and you found a Melty Blood Actress Again current code list for H-Kkohaku and you're like, who the fuck is this nigga? I'm Amala. I got second place at Frosty Fausting's 2025. I have 30,000 H-Kkohaku games over the course of 5 years. I have a 60% win rate. This shit does not matter at all, but like 30,000 games is like a lot of games. I played this character for like the better half of 4 years. I'm probably like the most learned person about this character probably right now. Like unless Garuk has been keeping up with everything, and he's in Japan. I'm probably like the most well-known H-Kkohaku in the North America right now. So it's safe to say I know a lot about my character, but of course, when it comes to matchups, you generally need to have some knowledge on the opponent character. And I do have some knowledge on opponent characters, but mostly in relations into how they interact with my character. So we do need to have that discussion. Like, I know how to play. Like, there are 3 characters in this game that I can play with like decent competence, and it's H-Kkohaku and like H-Arc and C-Scion. I actually, instead of C-Scion, I should say F-Kkohaku, because I have a decent F-Kkohaku. I just don't play her because she makes me mad. But like, those are 4 characters I listed are like the only characters I have deep knowledge about, other than like my like H-Kkohaku. So of course, some things are not going to be like 100% true. Maybe a person who plays one of these characters might believe the matchup is differently favored compared to how I believe the matchup to be. But of course, that's just the nature of tier lists. Okay. So we're gonna get rid of some of these tiers right away. I don't want to make these numbered or anything, but I feel like having like words explain it is probably for the best. We're going to talk about. Okay, first things first. Let's have a tier. We'll make this purple tier. Not enough data. There's going to be a fuck ton of characters in this tier. These are going to be characters that I don't have like I've played versus 87 of the 93 matchups in this game, according to my if I pull over my results.cv again, 87 matchups out of the 93 in this game. And if we count by total, I have a lot of matchup experience versus Nania Tono, Hkoha, Aoko, Arc, and barely any versus CNAC, H Narrow, H Maids, yada yada yada. Okay? So with that in mind, there's going to be some characters that are just not going to have enough data for me to be able to say anything in complete confidence. First things first, HCL. I played one HCL, and it was an EU HCL that smoked my shit 4 years ago. I don't even remember the name of the HCL player. I don't have enough matchup knowledge on that character to be able to say anything with any sort of certainty. Don't ask me about this matchup. I think H-Kkohaku, considering the fact that I believe H-Kkohaku wins versus CL and FCL, probably she wins versus HCL. Don't ask me. I don't know. Let's look at other characters on this list. If we pull over the list once more, let's talk about H Narrow. H Narrow, don't have enough data on. I think H-Kkohaku might beat H Narrow. I feel like she probably does, but apparently we have a good H Narrow player that I've yet to play recently, so I need to go and ask them for some games to be able to test my theory. Not enough data. I would probably believe that H-Kkohaku would probably win into H Narrow, especially considering the nature of his tools and the fact that H-Kkohaku has a relatively consistent reflector and decent ways to deal with a lot of the stuff that Narrow would be doing. But this is still a Narrow we are talking about, although it is a Narrow without an EX guard to thwart H-Kkohaku's 2A into command grab setups. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I fully know what the matchup would be like, which is why it's going into not enough data. Looking at this list once more, Hkohaku. I don't have enough data. I played more Hkohakus than this list. It says I've only have 25 games versus Hkohaku. I think it's probably I have more games versus Hkohaku on like other people's setups. I've played that character a decent bit, but I've never played an Hkohaku that has made me scared in neutral. I think Hkohaku might be better into Hkohaku than like most. I think she might be like even, or if she is in disadvantage, it's going to be a slight disadvantage. But I've literally not played an Hkohaku that's required me to like really think about playing the game for like years. So I'm just gonna put her into not enough data. F-Neko, not enough data. Deus has the F-Neko, and that's the only F-Neko I know for Neko Arc. C-Neko, we'll touch on the rest of the cats later. I have played enough C-Neko because there was Rhino Stomper, or I can't remember the name of their tag, but there was a very popular New York Neko player that would hop on online. I have a lot of games versus C-Neko because of that. For CNAC, I don't even know what this character does. Probably not enough data. H-Kkohaku probably wins it because it's a knack, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know what that character is doing. So, into not enough data they go. Any other characters that I don't have that much data on? I'm tempted to put H. Reese in not enough data because no one has ever played this character seriously into me. I've had people who need to meme with this character play them into me, but I've never played versus an H. Reese that like had brain cells and was thinking about what was happening on the screen. I feel like I played against the rest of these characters enough to have a strong opinion on. Actually, no, I played it versus F. I've played against decent F. Hisui's. H-Hisui is most definitely a character that I don't have any data on. Literally zero data on H-Hisui if I look on this on the list once more. Yeah, literally 0 games versus H-Hisui. Don't know what that character does. I believe she's a high tier, but I can't tell you what the fuck she does, so I'm not gonna bother discussing that much more. I have enough. I don't have lots of data on this character, but I have enough to rank them in a different tier. Any other characters I don't have enough data on? I played versus C. Reese and F. Reese enough to never want to play against that character again. I played against all the Rubes enough. Sasuke I have strong opinions on. I think that's it. See Vyakia, I played Gear Dragon's good enough for me to have an opinion on this matchup. I think the last character in Not Enough Data would either be we have a new H White Len on the block, and I need to play them first. For now, this character is going in Not Enough Data only because there's a new H White Len, and I heard people gassing up this. I heard Zay gas him up after he played them, and if Zay is gassing someone up, I want to play them. The other character I wanted to talk about is Not Enough Data. I have data on these matchups, I think. Like, this is like the most one. This is like the big one when it comes to Not Enough Data. It's like H-Work, but that's mainly because she's bad. But just because a character is bad doesn't mean they can't have a good matchup into H-Kkohaku. But these are like the big Not Enough Data piles. I have at the very end. I'll go over them again and put where I think they should be on a matchup chart. But I'm not going to have super strong opinions on them. First things first, let's talk about characters. Smokes with ease. These are characters with matchups that are probably 6-4 or worse that do not feel very difficult to play into. You might have to play in a very particular way in order to win these matchups, but they are not like super duper difficult. Then there will be beats. Actually, instead of smokes with ease, I'm going to beats comfortably. Beats uncomfortably, because I feel like that's a better explanation. Like, these are matchups that she wins like 6-4. Beats comfortably are characters that are just not strong enough to have enough threat and neutral in order to actually make H-Kkohaku have to think about where she's placing her buttons preemptively. Beats uncomfortably are characters that can actually like bite back and kick your ass once they have touched you. So first things first, beats uncomfortably. I think like the poster boy of like beats uncomfortably in an H-Kkohaku matchup is like Tono. I have a gazillion games versus fucking Alps, bro. Like, if we look at my CV again, I know it's like this guy keeps showing his resume. Like, I don't care. I have over 1,000 games versus C Tono, and this is like 90% Alps and Sine. And then I have a quadrillion game versus Nania. We'll talk about Nania later. Anyway, Tono is like worse at approaching than H-Kkohaku is, and that is like impressive. Tono does not have the forward movement in order to rush you down. He really wishes he did, but he has like literally everything else to make your life just annoying enough for it to not be like a beats comfortably matchup. You still win this matchup. I think it's like either 6-4 or 5.5 in H-Kkohaku's favor, but it's not super duper free. Tono's got hands. He if you can do the combos, or if you're decent at spacing, if these, like, of course I should like probably clarify now that we're talking about actual matchups. I'm assuming you're competent at your character. This is not like no fucking mid-level tier list, because I'm not mid-level anymore. This is like high level. At high level, C Tono has enough threat and neutral to make H-Kkohaku scared. And even though H-Kkohaku will win most interactions versus Tono, Tono is slightly annoying to combo in regards to the corner, so he takes slightly less damage in the corner from a command throw than the average character does. He also has the very unique property of being able to hold 8 versus command throw setups. Most characters, they have to block the bomb after 236A feint. Tono is the only character in this game that 100% of the time gets to just hold up during command throw setup, and he doesn't have to worry about blocking the bomb, which means that being able to gold air throw his ascend or jail him after he blocks the bomb, even if you decide to do nothing and try to bait a DP, is much more difficult than literally every other character. Tono has a lot of counterplay, and he's able to interact with you really well in like a lot of stages of the game that most other characters can't. However, the reason that he loses this matchup is because it is very, very possible for you to, like, as soon as you get like a decent life lead of about like 3,000, H-Kkohaku is pretty much capable of like never interacting with Tono on his own terms. Like, I found that my best games versus Alps, like nowadays when I play versus Alps, I try to like rush him down, because I feel like Alps is like really, really good as a player at stopping people from holding forward, because he's like really good at Tono and Nania, and Nania's whole thing is that he denies you the ability to take space with smartly placed JCs, right? And he carries that style over to his Tono, and I find that trying to, like, I figure that if I can get in on Tono, on Alps' Tono and Nania, I can get in versus pretty much anybody on like most characters other than like we'll talk about the characters that are like hell to get in on later. Like I should fucking unplug my controller. I'm not going to be playing Zenless or any platformers today, so because it's tier list day. Anyway, Tono again, H-Kkohaku favored, but it's not easy because Tono has a lot of ways to fight back, and like his pressure, he is like he has the most down backable pressure in the cast. But there's a reason Narusaraga is crazy on this character, bro. Like he's scary. He shouldn't be scary. Your brain understands that this character cannot open you up unless you let him, but like he will throw you a lot, and then he will open you up. I think this matchup is fun, but it's very uncomfortable. It's very easily in H-Kkohaku's favor, but it's not easy. Do not let don't let Tono players downplay this character is low-key kind of cheap. See, Tono beats him comfortably. Now, for a character that she beats relatively comfortably, let's put a shitter that we don't have to discuss all that much in here. Let's put both shitters in here. I'm slightly against putting them in beats comfortably, but like I played against T-Bubs there on F-Kkohaku. I played against like everyone has a fucking F-Kkohaku phase in this community, and it's so fucking annoying. But I played against every single Nekko enough to have an opinion that this character is like dog shit unless you play C. C is probably in beats them comfortably, but we'll get to them right after this. But like these characters just don't do enough in neutral. Like their forward movement is decent, but their ability to disengage is like so horrible, and it allows H-Kkohaku to run at them. Like H-Kkohaku generally is very, very bad at approaching people. So matchups where like the thing with Tono is like you both suck at approaching each other. Tono is slightly better at approaching than you, but like you both are kind of bad at it, so it's like pretty easy for you guys to like stuff each other's approaches, and when you stuff his approach correctly, you get more off of it in neutral than Tono does, which is why she beats him uncomfortably, because just raw numbers wise, H-Kkohaku is going to be winning most off of her interactions in neutral to Tono, because you both suck at approaching. These characters are like, okay, I need to take a call. Apparently someone's calling me. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm done with my call. In regards to F-Kkohaku and C, like F-Kkohaku is most definitely a comfier beat than H-Kkohaku. H-Kkohaku has some stuff, but both of these characters like really bad. Their Oki is bad. They're like the only thing annoying about these guys is that they can poke you out a lot in defense. But like I'm super duper impatient and I am bad at defense, but even I don't have that much of a struggle jumping out versus these characters. They're just both like horribly designed to the point that it's not difficult to escape their strong points that are not that strong, and then you just have to deal with the fact that you just gotta deal with the fact that their neutral is also not that good. They can't disengage very easily from H-Kkohaku, which is very unique in the cast, because H-Kkohaku is really bad at approaching, but they just like they can stuff you out if you like play like completely stupidly, but they're not very good or consistent at like beating H-Kkohaku in neutral. So they get reward mogged due to their low health too, so they just go in this tier very comfortably. C-Kkohaku is a beats uncomfortably. I think this is easily a better matchup than C-Tono, but like god, it is annoying. If you ever have a day where you are not playing defense properly, this character would not wait, this is the wrong one. This is C-Mech. C-Kkohaku is lower down, maybe? Where are they? Fuck, where did I put it? That's Hkohaku Mech. Bro, where's Kkohaku? Okay, C-Kkohaku is a beats uncomfortably. Easily a 6-4. This is not no fucking 5.5, but it is super duper annoying because if you ever lose neutral at all versus this character, you are going to have to enter the danger zone in offense. That's her whole stick. Because you are H-Moon, you can't deal with her offense as well as like most C or F-Moons can. Like the whole thing, like C-Kkohaku beats you by making you annoyed, and like this character is very annoying. Like she's not super duper broken or strong. Her neutral is relatively easy to see. Like it's very predictable and it's pretty easy to play around her ranges. But if you make a slight mistake and you get hit by like Cat, or if you're playing very lazily on defense, you will just get destroyed. But it's not like she doesn't like she doesn't have anything like stronger than what you've got. Like she has the same issues as the other Nekos. Like hers are slightly less bad. Like she doesn't, but she also struggles versus H-Kkohaku just like getting a life. Like she has a combination of both like the Tono issue and the other Neko Max where she gets zoned out really hard, but also when you touch her, she has the reverse guts and she's very bad at like fully disengaging from H-Kkohaku. So she just gets reward mods generally. Like her offense, her block string offense is really, really, really good, and that's her claim to fame in this matchup. She has a couple of gimmicks like the double overhead and the like drag out of the corner stuff, but those are like mostly matchup knowledge checks compared to anything else. And like if you know those and you're both high skilled players, the H-Kkohaku players should be coming out on top. But it's super duper annoying. If you ever think that this matchup is like completely free and you forget to actually like use your brain on defense, you will get smoked. Like this character is really good at smoking from block string offense, which is one of the most annoying game states in this game, especially versus as H-Kkohaku. H-Kkohaku really struggles versus the characters that prioritize the fact that she's really bad at mashing out of shit. Like really, really bad at mashing out. And because combine that with regular H-Moon bullshit, like with no EX guard and having to rely on an EX bunker, even though her EX bunker is like second or third biggest in the game, like characters like that, she can struggle against sometimes. But like generally she beats C Nekoma because like even for her broken brain does C Nekomac pressure, H-Kkohaku bunker allows her to interact with it even versus like the super spaced out bullshit. And if they block at max range, they're like what -7 and like are slight year away. You can actually like fucking gamble off of that, like with Rising J A to move out of the way of like dash 2D or just regular raw 2D. Matchup's very playable and it's very much in H-Kkohaku favor, but it's not fun if you ever just get hit by something. Like she's gonna carry you near the corner like pretty much always, and she's gonna do some fucking bullshit. Her offense is good. That's what makes her uncomfortable to beat. Her offense is good. It's not as still volley as H-Kkohaku's, but it's playable. You know what? I put C-Mech here. I think I'm going to talk about both C-Mech and F-Mech. I think these are both 6'4s, but these are both like night and day in regards to how you play these matchups. F-Mech is like weird. Hkohaku beats F-Mech, but I've lost to Darko like super convincingly because he just like Darko knows when it's his turn. He's probably a better character specialist than I am, in all honesty. Like I feel like if I played that matchup a lot more, I would probably like even if I played it a lot more, I feel like F-Mech has like the tools to scrap in neutral compared to C-Mech. And like dealing with lasers from C-Mech is like piss easy because like Hkohaku dash skid randomly goes underneath the high lasers. So even if you like dash block, even if you like most of the time you just regular dash block it, but even if there's times where you dash block and you just like get to completely go under the laser, and like C-Mech, I just don't know. I think the main thing is the JA. F-Mech's JA is like genuinely such a difference maker in that matchup in regards to how easy it is to play into. Like both of these characters have the sort of same issue of like, oh, when they touch you they don't do that much damage and their Oki is not like anything ridiculous. They have some strong situations, but their situations are not as strong as yours, so it's kind of annoying to get hit by them. Like sure, C-Mech and F-Mech have an easier time sourcing hits in neutral compared to H-Kkohaku, but H-Kkohaku has very powerful buttons in regards to these matchups in regards to 2C. Like 2C, like I didn't mention it a lot in these four matchups because it doesn't really matter as much in these matchups. Like it matters, but it's not as big as it does versus C-Mech and F-Mech. 2C as a button shuts down so much of C and F-Mech's game plan that it's kind of hilarious, but like I feel like F-Mech can play around the 2C a lot better than C-Mech can. Or maybe it's just like Darko. Like I played versus Akimi, but Akimi does not play this game as much as she once used to. So I feel like maybe it's I'm biased, and maybe these are both beats uncomfortably, or maybe they're both beats comfortably. I don't know. I played a lot more versus C Mac than versus F Mac, but I feel like in regards to this matchup, like F Mech, her JA just does a fuck ton of work in regards to making H-Kkohaku very uncomfortable pressing buttons in the air. She will like press it preemptively to take space versus JB. Like I think versus F Mech, you have to rely on JC more, which is very scary button to rely on as H-Kkohaku. Like like C Mech has better mechanics, and she technically has better combos in regards to the whip loops, but like I don't know, man. F Mech, I think F Mech is just like these are probably like both like 6'4s. And maybe if I played versus them a lot more, maybe I'd be like 6.5, or maybe I'd play say 5.5. But I feel like both of these are like beats. I think like most of the times, like whenever I lose versus these two characters, I never ever think that it's like Mech's fault for me losing, and it's more so like I just don't know the matchup well enough in order to win consistently versus them. So I think I'm just going to put them both in beats, because I never ever felt like my character was at disadvantage versus Mech, C Mech. For H Mech, this is very easily a beast comfortably. Have you seen what H Mech does? This character is not really real. I went on to a tirade on like F and H Mech, but like let's be real here. This character's like bad. I played versus Dabs' H Mech. This character's bad. She is like the definition of she tries to annoy you out of playing the game. Just not good. Okay. H-Knack. A more an ever more present matchup than normal, because Skeleton, she plays H-Knack. Low key, this might need to go in a new tier, but I'm going to put it in beats uncomfortably for now. H-Kkohaku's strength is her Oki, and unfortunately for her, H-Kkohaku cannot access her Oki versus the cats. Now, this is fine versus these fuckers because they're just bad. Their kits are like genuinely so dysfunctional that you can just like raw beat them by playing BCBC Air Throw Simulator. But versus H-Knack, maybe it's just because Skeleton has pushed H-Knack more than like any other Knack has been pushed other than C-Knack. Also, speaking of beats, speaking of C-Knack, C-Knack most definitely also goes in beats uncomfortably. This is probably like, I don't know. It's probably a 6'4". It might be a 7'3". But like, brother, these characters are both super duper annoying. You have to deal with the nonsense that is 5A, 5C, 5A, 6AA being a one frame link or something that you have to buffer. I don't actually know like the full details on how difficult it is to get 5A, 6A to connect after 5C, but it's not easy. It's easy to drop too. So like you run into like, oh, my basic combos are very inconsistent versus these characters. They play super duper lame, and my answer to all their nonsense is like run the timer versus them. And like they're capable of doing shit. Like C-Knack's deal is that if C-Knack hits you, not C-Knack, C-Nekko's deal is if C-Nekko hits you, you get hit for like 4K minimum, and if you tech wrong, you eat 6K. And by the way, not teching is not a correct answer all the time. You're gonna eat 6K from that too, so you better choose. Like if you decide to never ever tech, you will eat 6K like almost every time. But when you do tech and you guess wrong, you eat another 4K. So it's like it's just like, let's go gambling. And like this character's Oki is not powerful. Neither is their block string offense all that interesting. Like it's not noteworthy at all. But like, if she ever hits you, if C-Nekko ever hits you for any reason, it is like 6K. And that's enough to be annoying and for the matchup to be uncomfortable. For H-Knack, like this matchup is like fucking boring. I'd honestly put H-Knack in a separate tier, being like just play F-Kkohaku, because like all of H-Kkohaku's strengths literally don't matter versus H-Knack. I still think it's a positive matchup, but it's like there's literally no benefit into playing H-Kkohaku into H-Knack over like F-Kkohaku. Your combos work more consistently on F-Kkohaku. You can deal with it with H-Knack pressing buttons in the air easier. it's a lot easier to shut down H-Knack's game plan on F-Kkohaku than it is on H-Kkohaku, but it's doable. And when you do it, like the thing with H-Knack is that his thing is that he does air beams, but like you can just air block air beams, and if you like air block like basically an air dash height, you always get a punish, or you at least get to force response from H-Knack or force a block by just air dash throwing and J being. And that simple interaction is like enough to carry enough of the neutral that you can consistently out reward H-Knack if you play super duper slow around getting like air blocking jump beams. His beams don't even do shit other than the EX ones. So like, I think one of his EX beams don't do shit, but the rest of them do. I forget how it works on H-Knack. The point is, like, H-Knack wins by getting you annoyed. Also, H-Knack is piloted by Skeleton, and Skeleton's way better at Melty Blood than the average Melty Blood denizen. So she will just open you up and make you feel like the most stupid player to have ever existed. But like this character is just annoying because of hurt boxes. Like both of these characters are annoying because they have actual game plans, and their hurt boxes are like super duper annoying to the point like there's literally again versus all the versus all the Nekos, you could genuinely make a argument that you should never play H-Kkohaku into them, and you should just play F, because there's like no real benefit into playing H-Kkohaku into any of them. Like, oh, your 2B clashes heat, how amazing, versus the slowest heat in the game, so you have to do a very particular block string in order to even get the auto clash heat on wake up, and in regular pressure, because the heat is so slow, you don't bait it out the same way as you bait out other heats. How interesting, how amazing. These characters are characters that are very annoying. Beats uncomfortably. Hot take. Hkoha is in beats comfortably. I used to have this matchup in beats uncomfortably. I think nowadays it's like once you realize that Hkoha cannot like kill you if you just jump and you don't press buttons, it becomes a lot easier to deal with this character. He's still kind of annoying. He straddles the line very close, but like his inability to like air you into meaningful damage kind of kills his ability to like actually be a genuine threat, because Kohaku has like some pretty damn good buttons into Koma, like Koma specifically, and like F-Koma's buttons are like annoying to deal with. They're strong. Like he's most easily the most real character out of any character that can beat comfortably right now. But like, once you get good enough at neutral versus in this matchup, I genuinely think H-Kkohaku kind of just smokes Hkoha. You have 5B. Koma is super duper easy to loop, so he takes more damage from bateau loops on average compared to the rest of the cast. He's a lot easier to convert off like random stray hits on too. Like he is like very just. It's a lot easier to deal with his reversals too, because like you get 2-2 seed out of command throw every now and then. You'll be like, man, that fucking sucks because I get counter hit into a full combo. But like his reversals are like super duper easy to deal with, and like his EX command throw that's like invul, you can easily outspace it with your regular un EX command throw. Like it's that easy out space. And versus even when you like dash in super deep for like a meaty, you can quite literally DP his fucking throw on reaction, or hell, you can 2-2C his EX command throw on reaction and get a full punish. Hkoha is just a very sad character into H-Kkohaku. Like Jog hates that matchup, and I can't even blame him, because like I used to really hate Hkoha, but like nowadays I kind of recognize that like he's kind of forced into becoming Sasuke Jr. versus Kohaku, because he can Sindori H-Kkohaku and all the other Kohakus, but like that's his win con, bro. Like he has to Sandura you, because like yeah, he can like strike throw you to death, but like you're way better at strike throwing than he is. Well, not really, because Koma has better strike throw in like the traditional throw sense, in that Koma will land more throws versus the opponent that is aware than H-Kkohaku will. But like H-Kkohaku's throws will win her the game super consistently versus Koma. That is not the same case for Koma versus H-Kkohaku. So like, yeah, we're kind of just in a situation where like Hkoha gets reward mogged, he gets neutral mogged. He's just very unfortunate into this character. Also, sorry for my brother being loud in the background. I can't do much about that. Um, C arc. No, we're still talking about winning matchups. So let's go back to very uncomfortable wins. Where's beats comfortably FCL? Like FCL and Hkoha are most easily the strongest characters in Beast comfortably. I think both of these characters just kind of get unfortunately pwned by like a bunch of system mechanics, or I mean just a bunch of like regular interactions that add up to them not being able to deal with H-Kkohaku's bullshit. In regards to CL's nonsense, it is the fact that she like her command grab, her DP does not work versus crouching foes. So like most of the time you'll beat it on H-Kkohaku with 2A 2C, and like your 2A leads to a strike throw with a command grab that will do 4K minimum versus CL. That's scary, and the fact that you can't DP the start of that because it will just whiff versus 2A meaty, very bad. Also, her DP is so fast that she actually gets pwned even harder by command throw setups, because while it is so fast that you cannot 2A 5 DOS it means that if you dash command throw CL on her wake up, your command throw input will just block her DP super consistently. You pretty much never have to think about dealing with DPs versus CL, despite the fact that she has the fastest one in the game, because it is the EXDP that's frame 2 that you will block an accident all the time. She also just has to deal with the fact that Hkohaku JB will just randomly go through F5C clash. I don't understand how it works, but like it's just a thing that happens. JG put it in his doc, so it's not just me coping and thinking I'm better than GG or some shit. Hkohaku JB will just randomly like skirt past the clash box of FCL5C, and you will win the interactions that versus Charge 5C that you really shouldn't. JC can also win versus FCL5C, but it's not consistent as much as JB is. Like JB is also inconsistent, but it happens enough to win games. Because again, when Hkohaku lands on FCL with JB, she's doing a fuck ton of damage into like Bomb Oki usually. Like FCL's issue is that while she can fuzzy Hkohaku, she doesn't get that situation enough, nor does she have anything strong enough in her kit to allow her to get a consistent advantage over H-Kkohaku. Like she similar to Koma, she's getting reward mugged, she's getting neutral mugged, she's get her defense, which while typically kind of pretty decent, is not good enough versus this matchup. In this matchup, it's like she just. I think FCL versus H-Kkohaku is like a struggle matchup. It's probably like a 6-4, but it's like, man, it's probably one of the more dog shitty feeling 6-4s, because it's like it feels doable enough, but I think it's not. I don't think she has much bark to her bite. CCL beats uncomfortably. She kind of suffers the same issues. She has the same EXDP, but she has hero and she has EX / she has hero, like the EX hero. She has like EX key toss, which is a different reversal. I think all of her reversals lose to 2A5D except for EXDP, but we kind of talked about why EXDP is kind of dog shit, because you just kind of command throw block it accidentally all the time. Her regular DP is like whatever, because it doesn't matter because it whiz versus crouch. I think like versus Cop Killer, I've like never ever thought that this matchup was like super duper difficult, and Cop Killer is like mad good. So like on one hand, Cop Killer kills themselves with shields somewhat frequently, but on the other hand, their neutral is like pretty damn good, and they're pretty good at rotate. They're better than average a C-Moon player at rotating defensive options. So like the fact that I find this matchup so easy versus a character with as strong as option or cool toolkit as CCL, like even back in my days when I had struggles versus this matchup, I don't even think I had that big of a struggle versus this matchup, as I did some of the matchups that we're going to talk about when I talk about losing matchups. So I think like just CCL has just a lot of overlap in FCL, but she has enough general tools that she will beat you. Like this is probably like a 5.5. You could argue this to be 5.5 H-Kkohaku favorite as opposed to like a 6-4 or maybe worse for FCL. Like this character is just she has a much more generalized toolkit, and while in some cases FCL is more specialized anti-airing and clash focused moveset will allow her to do better in some matchups. Like in this matchup in particular, she's able to actually do shit versus H-Kkohaku. Next up for losing matchups, I mean from matchups that Hkohaku wins. To who else? Maybe it's time to make the third tier. It's close, but Hkohaku wins. These are the ones that I believe are like 5.5. I think Hkoha goes here. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. But before we talk about Hkoha, let's talk about H-Kkoha first and finish the Komas. H-Kkoha is like worse than F-Kkoha, but he has enough tools that it's like it's whatever as a matchup. He has the 5A 6AA that hits from Canada, like California actually. It's not hitting from high up. It's hitting from fucking across the sea. His 5A 6AA is decent. He has good defensive options. His defensive options are annoying, but he kind of just suffers the same issue where, like, okay, you're in the air and you're not pressing buttons stupidly. What does he do? And he doesn't even have Hkoha 2B to help him out versus people who are jumping around in the air like dumbasses. He's just sort of struggles. He can win versus you. It is not like a 7-3, but like he struggles a lot in neutral. He struggles a lot on defense because command throw Oki is just super duper strong and it invalidates like 80% of his options. You just beat him comfortably because he's just a much worse character. If his numbers were higher, he would probably be in beats uncomfortably or beats it's close. But his numbers are not higher. He's just bad. But don't think you can queue up on the H-Kkohaku versus Yigs Aces high and get a free win. That guy is low-key cracked at H-Kkoha. It's not free, but it's a relatively comfortable beat once you learn the matchup. Back to Hkoha. I think the fact that anytime Skeleton brings out her Hkoha, the fact that I get super close to winning despite the fact that I'm way worse a player, says a lot about the matchup. It's probably closer than... It might be beats uncomfortably. You can most definitely argue it to be beats uncomfortably because, again, Skeleton's just way better than me, and I get, like, consistently, like, very close to beating their Hkoha. Versus, like, I get smoked by, like, Skeleton Nyania, so, like, what the fuck does that say about this matchup? But, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a lot of games versus Hkoha in general, and I play versus Skeleton a lot. Like, as of, like, last year. I haven't played against her much this year. But, like, I don't know. I think it's... You could argue it to be both, but I think Hkoha has, like, enough in his toolkit to be very annoying. Like, I think I'm going to put in beats uncomfortable and we're just going to keep this tier for something else. I think, yeah, I think he just goes in here. You beat Hkoha, but it's not easy. It's not free. Like, none of these matchups are, like, free, stress. None of these are low cortisol wins. I might rename this. Actually, I think I might. It's funny. High cortisol wins, low cortisol wins. That's it's a lot funnier. These are all high cortisol matchups that you win. Hkoha got hands, bro, but his grappling, despite the fact that he'll grab you, like, it's the same deal as like most other grapplers or characters in this game in general. H-Kkohaku gets thrown more than she will throw, but when she throws you, you most definitely feel it because it's like worth 4 or 5 throws worth of damage. So, yeah, you know. Hkoha kind of struggles versus 2C in general. He's very good at whiff punishing your buttons on the ground, but that's why you're not pressing buttons outside of like 5B. 5B kind of goes LeBron in this matchup specifically, despite him being one of the few characters that does. He's one of the majority of the cast that doesn't get hit by 5B max range. But even then, this 5B as a button, who is normally just so average that it's not worth talking about, becomes really good because the spaces that Hkoha likes to contest and be in are in prime 5B swatting range. When he IEDs, he has to deal with both hits of 5B, getting his tippy toes, or when he's right above her. He's really good at challenging on her max range resets, but even though she's good at that, Hkoha's not so good at it that he gets to like ignore the real threat of getting command thrown into 4K. Again, Koma gets command thrown and looped a lot easier than most characters in the cast. He's honestly one of the easiest characters to loop, which does not do him any favors. But he has strong defensive options, and he can engage enough with you in neutral, especially with his dive kick, to be annoying. He has tools, he has options, and he has enough options plus C-minute mechanic that he's very difficult to beat consistently, but you do just win the matchup. I think that's where I'm going to put him. These characters are not enough data. I'm not going to talk anymore about cats. These are probably both low cortisol wins, primarily because nobody plays these characters has a brain. Yeah. I'm gonna put both of the rest of the cats in here. There's not enough data, but like anyone who's picking these characters literally does not have a brain because these characters are not functional at all. So like it's whatever. Low cortisol wins because you just win by basic B&B bullshit. Okay. Where's H Nero? I put him on the list. No, I don't want to talk about Nero. I think let's talk about one of her more surprising wins. The PCL. I think H-Kkohaku does surprisingly win well into every single PCL, but let's talk about the strongest PCL. We finally get to use this tier. It's close, but Hkohaku wins. This might even be a high cortisol win. It's very high cortisol. Like, very high cortisol win. Actually, hard issues, but wins. Yeah, hard issues after the set, but you win. This character has the scariest Oki out of like any matchup that you win. But like, despite all of it, 2C does so much versus this matchup. That and the fact that you can reflect her missiles with 623A does so much in order to prevent her from just steamrolling you in neutral, because the typical FPCL game plan is like never engage without a rock or a missile leading the charge, but they can't do that versus you super easily because you are both you're very prone to just like, one, you catch their startup of like the missile, or you catch the startup of them pulling out the rock, and then they have to eat 623A OTG into strike throw, and her jump is slow. The fact that she has like an extra 3 frames of drum startup does not do her any favors during this matchup versus a character who, if she throws you, gets like 4K minimum. So, well, technically it's 3K minimum, but like unreduced 4K minimum. But the thing with this matchup is that like FPCL has hands, and she has way more hands than like every other character by virtue of being like a top tier with like broken Oki. The same frame high-low that she can do off of like almost any hit, the fact that all of her hits are super duper long, so she's just as good as you at running out the clock on her own offense, is like not easy to deal with at all. She will give you lots of scares, jump scares, but you can win it. It's probably in your favor to win it, all things considered, which is probably one of the bigger tier like counterpick moments for H-Kkohaku. Like the fact that she does super well versus the FPCLs, like all the PCLs actually, is like pretty impressive as a character. That's like, these are both high cortisol wins. I played versus Maxi's HPCL a fuck ton, so I know this matchup a lot better than you probably think I do. But like, HPCL does not have as broken enough neutral to make the matchup super duper scary. But all 3 of these characters kind of just struggle to move, and despite their super annoying 623A in neutral, H-Kkohaku has 5 JC charge, and she also should just not be jumping on them in such a way that it's super easy for them to 623A. She also has a 4-frame command throw that she can buffer on block, meaning that if they try to do that dive kick bullshit where they like dive kick and try to steal a turn afterwards because it's like 4 frames, you're doing a bufferable normal off a block, so you get a free punish on dive kick if you are aware of that's how you're supposed to punish it. So you can actually force them to like reset off the dive kick with neutral jump. So you get to play, you get to interact with the dive kick a lot more than a lot of other characters do, and it's a relatively low. Like, you have to be in the zone and you have to be aware but you can actually interact with 623A into dive kick way more than your average character can. And mind you, it's H-Kkohaku's command throw. So even if you're in mid screen, if you're mid screen close enough to the corner, you get 5k from that throw. They cannot be dive kicking you like dumbasses like they do versus a lot of the cast. Even if they space the dive kick, you still scoop them up, especially if they press a button. And because their backdash is grounded, they don't get to backdash away like pussies either. So they struggle to dive kick you and abuse dive kick versus you. Their 63A is annoying, but it's not so. It's mostly just are you doing a stupid jump in? Like they have strong pressure, but their pressure is not like once they get to the point where they're 2-3-6-ing in pressure, their pressure is essentially just over. You just have to eat that chip and go back to playing neutral. And neutral is like super strongly in your favor. 2C into 623A OTG just does so much versus these characters in regards to like stabilizing a game plan. Especially, and that's not even concerning the fact that like we do have to understand that my H-Kkohaku is like slightly unoptimized in regards to like 2C nonsense. I do not be doing 2C 5A 6A combos like as much as I should, or be doing 2C into 2B 2 hits. Like if you further optimize the H-Kkohaku versus PCL, all the places you'll go, I think, especially versus these two, like this one has enough reward off of like just raw hits to like never ever be a free like 6-4, but like you still win versus her, which is pretty impressive. Not enough data. F arc. ADCT literally ducks me, and he will not play me until I play Hkohaku. That's the only person I trust on this character to not be joking or playing badly. I don't even have a strong opinion on the matchup, actually, in regards to F arc versus H-Kkohaku. It is a matchup I've only played versus people who are learning that character. Next character. F-Roa. You will get counter hit by JC charged by if you try to JB thinking that will solve your issues versus this character, you are sorely mistaken and you will have a very not fun time. You do win this matchup very handedly because this character is not like amazing or anything, and he kind of just gets out reward mogged by you, but like please do not JB versus your local F-Roa without massive intent. Like you have to do it like super duper early or you are just going to get JC'd. He is probably the lowest tier character in high cortisol wins. Actually, I guess I don't know. I don't think C Necomech is that bad. Actually, F-Mech, these two are most definitely the lowest tier characters in the high cortisol wins, but he comes close. He just has JC, and that's just enough of a button that you have to be aware of to like be like that button alone makes him a high cortisol one. I guess we could talk about the other Roa. Low-key, I don't have enough games versus him. I have like 50 something games versus him, but he feels like a hard issues by Shuin. He is probably high cortisol win, but I'm gonna put him here because this guy's low-key a demon. Like he's like H-Rug, in which you're like, oh I got a hit versus H-Rug. No, H-Rug got a hit versus me, and then she's running a gazillion years of block string offense that I can't interact with because I don't have EX block. That's what it feels like to play versus this character. And you kind of have to rely on shield, but H-Kkohaku's shield is like kind of bad. It's like her shield is super duper big, which allows her to interact versus characters like Nero and versus PCL very consistently, which is really strong. But she takes a step forward when she presses shield. Like after she activates her shield counter, she steps forward. So that means you are capable of being crossed up very frequently. Even if you're in the corner, you lose the corner as soon as you press shield and shield counter. So H-Ro takes full advantage of that. He's probably high cortisols and wins anyway. Like this character is honestly not that bad. It's I understand why we don't see him a lot. C-Roa is playable. There's like no reason to play H-Roa unless you like really love like both hero and like the charge dashes, but like he does decent into H-Kkohaku. It's fun. It's kind of funny that both of Roas have like both of these Roas, like the non-broken ones, have like tools in neutral that actually command respect from Hkohaku, and like they can actually fight back, so they're like kind of annoying. These aren't like as free as wins as I'm probably portraying them in high cortisol wins, but like they probably do better than a lot of the fuckers in this tier, honestly. And you can definitely argue that H-Ro could be here, I think, but like not enough data. So I'm just gonna put him in high cortisol wins. Heart issues, but wins. C White Land. Nick is a demon, but also this character can be played by like people with brains, and that's why that's why Nick does so well. She has a brain, and like 4 frame DP on a 214 is like one of those. Is it 214 or 421? I don't even fucking remember. Point is, it's on a stupid input that you could do from block, and you just buffer it in every single block string. And the counterplay to DP into EX Icicle is like a 2 frame leniency 5A, and then like yeah, sure you kill her. Like she might be high cortisol wins. I might just be traumatized by playing Nick in so many brackets and losing so often until I finally started turning it around. But like man, I think I had to put in a high cortisol wins because of my win rate versus Nick in brackets, but like this matchup is most definitely on the edge of guard issues, but you win. The issue with this matchup is that like you can't approach at all. Like you sort of have to use 2-2x in order to force your way in, but like issue with that game plan is that like what you think C White Lens gonna give you 50 frames to do jack shit with in neutral for free? Like hello? She's going to throw ice. She's going to be annoying. Like, you, like, out-reward Mog her. But her defense is so good that it's genuinely a problem. But there's enough holes in her defense that I think you win. Consistently. She also, C White Len benefits a lot from the hurtbox issues that Len produces versus Hkohaku. For those of you who are not aware, versus Len and H-Len versus Len and White Len, both characters are 1 pixel too short to get hit by 623A OTG outside of being relaunched in the corner. So that does a lot for this zoner in this matchup. In fact, I think that's enough for me to put her in hard issues, but you win. Because you do win the matchup. It's just like super duper fucking annoying because you can't get a lot from a lot of hits. And you're like, I think this is probably like, while this is 5.5, 4.5, this is probably like 6.4, but it's like, it's super duper difficult to play correctly. I think in that same vein, let's put F White Land. Hard issues, but you win. You had to play this matchup in a completely different way than you play this matchup. I mean, of course, different moons are different characters, but usually like there's a similar through line in how you approach a matchup, like with C mech and F mech. You typically want to use 2C's ability to like low profile a lot of their key buttons in order to take space on the ground. But like versus these two, the game plan is completely different. Basketball on F White Land is an actual genuine problem. It's a projectile you can't reflect, and she's usually doing it from a spacing that's very difficult for H-Kkohaku to contest. My mic was off for a while because I accidentally hit the button. Oops. I hope, bro, I might have to edit this video now. Holy shit. I can't believe I accidentally did that. How much of this recording is oh no, this is an hour-long video. I accidentally hit the fucking mic mute button on my thing. That's bad. Okay. I was talking about Roog for like 5 minutes though. So maybe I will just like put a note and say skip these 5 minutes of just nonsense. Oh, I have to fucking edit it though because I don't want to get like full copyright striked. Oh, this shit sucks, but whatever. I'll edit it in YouTube's editor. H-Roog, let me repeat what I said last so I can continue on with from the Roogs. H-Roog is like, she has super strong offense, but like that's not super impressive when you're versus H-Kkohaku. Her neutral is whatever. She has to deal, like her buttons are very strong at jump characters who are jumping in and jerking off at the edge of the screen, but H-Kkohaku's not really being in that position really often. She can't really jump in that well, so she kind of struggles in getting in versus H-Kkohaku. So like she just does the worst of the Roogs just because of her power budget's not in the right place to do well versus H-Kkohaku. That was like the whole spiel. I really pray that I did not like leave my mic off for like 10 minutes because that would be so fucking annoying. But like next character, that's the next character. I'm not gonna think about it anymore. I'll be more careful. F-Roog. F-Roog. Oh, I'm gonna have to double check this. This is gonna be so fucking annoying. Whatever. F-Roog, she has a lot better block string offense in regards to catching jump outs. I feel like the fact that she catches jump outs better and she has her 5B puts her in high cortisol wins already because the way H-Kkohaku jump ins versus people is usually by IADing in the perfect area where 5B is like an actual button you have to be aware of. And while that is the case, she still wins the matchup relatively cleanly because like as strong as um as strong as F-Rook 5B is, it's still relatively high commit and very clinical to use, and like you just have to bait it out. Like you spend like most like anytime you're in the air versus F Rug, you're typically not air dashing at her like a bum. You're typically trying to air her preemptively, but when you're in the air and she's not, and you're considering jumping on F Rug, you're typically spending most of your time baiting out F Rug 5B. Like she has strong block string pressure. Like she doesn't have like super broken block string pressure, but it's good enough to be annoying to H-Kkohaku. The thing that's strong about F-Rug is primarily her neutral. She has blood heat, and her blood heat mode is really annoying. But like, yeah, it's whatever. C-Rug, I'm tired. I'm kind of tired of talking about Rugs already. But like, whatever. C-Rug has the blood heat mode, but her big claim to fame and the reason that she's the most annoying Rug to deal with as a H-Kkohaku player is primarily her JB being a cross-up deep hitting button. That's it. That's all you need. Like H-Kkohaku really struggles versus anti-air versus H-Kkohaku struggles to anti-air, and a character that will be jumping on you more often is a lot more annoying. She kind of struggles with meter management, with a lot of her damage coming behind the Jinrai EX special, but it doesn't really matter that much versus an H-Moon who has worse meter management than you anyway. But like she just loses the neutral. All three Rugs lose in neutral to Kohaku buttons. 2C, 2A Whiff does a lot of work versus all three of them. But like, yeah. These two are a lot more difficult to win versus than this one. Or it might just be H-Root players on an average worse than C-Root and F-Root players. But like even the mid-level F-Root players give me more of an issue than the mid-level H-Root players. I think that's just a matchup thing as opposed to the H-Root players just being bad. Next is hard issues but you win. C Wara. I think F Wara goes here too. And for Wara, next after this is Toto. Okay. Wara is very difficult matchup because it is extremely neutral based. Outside of when you get the clean hit. Like, versus HC Wara is probably the easiest character to clean hit versus any like high top tier character in this game. And did I say easiest? I hope I said hardest. He's the hardest character to get land a clean hit on because his movement is like really, really good. He's really good at anti-airing you because you don't have like a Hkohaku JC, and his 5A is like really, really good at anti-airing the space and contesting the spaces that you want to be in. So he has 2B as well. He has 5A. He has JB. JB is not super duper strong versus H-Kkohaku, but it's still a button that you have to be aware of and be careful of. He has his JC is usually what ends up like if you start like shielding his JC like preemptively and start like being around in areas where he has to contest with JC and start like shielding that's when he starts having issues in the matchup. And like the only reason I think that you win this matchup, I think it's super close, but I think H-Kkohaku wins it just because Wara gets looped a fuck ton. He is super easy to loop. He's probably the easiest character in the game to loop. He's easier than Koma to loop. Every single looping style works versus him. You could do like the 5C, 5A version, 5AA version. If you can think of a way to put toe loop, you can do it on Wara. It's super consistent, and like even if you fail and he texts out and you do a hit too early, late, and he texts out, like he's not going to tech into EX button you. Like it's super duper easy to loop versus Warakia in general, and you just get a bajillion reward versus him. Like chewing through the last 25% of his HP and his guts is generally difficult, but like you get to build up so much of a lead so fast versus him due to his low starting HP that you can generally like get a clean hit into Oki, and typically you can snowball from there because his defensive options, while he has a couple, none of them are super duper strong enough to warrant like immediate respect. And like his offense is like Siwara's offense is just time filler. Like Siwara block string offense is what FPCL combos are like. Generally, they're just wasting time. Like, we all know what's going to happen. You're going to be forced to reset off of like max distance 5C. Let's go to the part that's like interesting, where I get to make a decision already. Like, he's not super scary on block string offense, which is good because like his shit is generally so uninteractive that like that's good for H-Kkohaku, because again, she doesn't really get to interact with most characters on their block string offense anyway, because her buttons for Abare is bad. So she doesn't really mind waiting and taking the timer penalty and going back to neutral. You have pretty good interactions versus Siwara with 2C low profile and 5B. It also low profiles 5C, and it can roll profile 5C charge as well. He is just so easy to combo that he gets hit by a lot of bullshit that doesn't work versus the rest of the cast, that all works out in H-Kkohaku's favor. And considering the fact that Siwara Oki is way weaker than H-Kkohaku Oki, you do win the matchup. But the neutral, like, you know that meme, like, but my whatever. I can't even remember the meme at the moment. An hour deep into this, I'm already fucking losing my mind. Jesus. Anyway, the neutral is really, really hard versus Siwara, but it is doable. And I think if you are playing the neutral well, even though Siwara will generally win neutral more than you, your neutral wins will matter more. So next is F-Wara. F-Wara has way worse neutral than Siwara, but the issue is when he touches you, he does not stop touching you. He's like a serial groper or some shit, bro. Like he gets a hit on you and he's running like 6-way mix versus you. You better be able to guess right, because unreactable high-low is coming your way soon. Like, this character, his neutral consists of like orbs, and like you can reflect the orbs, but you don't want to be spending too much time or be too focused on reflecting the orbs, because they're not a super strong projectile to reflect in general. So you're typically just spending most of your time just dealing with the fact that yeah, he does to you what you do to Siwara. Your neutral is better, but like both of you can turtle up relatively well, and when he hits you, his Oki is like way better than yours, but like you have the advantage of like your Oki's insured, his is not. If you guess right on F-Wara Oki, it's usually your turn because you shielded it or you bunkered it or something like that. You get to play essentially. F-Wara guesses right on your Oki, he's still on the back foot. He has to either go back to neutral like a bitch and like disengage full screen, or he's getting hit by like a second command throw, or he's getting air unblockable or some shit like that. Like, you win based on like risk reward essentially, but like your risk is like you pretty much you win because you take less risk when it's your time to reap the rewards, if that makes any sense. Like, his reward is higher generally because his Oki can be stronger because it's like a Sandori-esque mix-up, but like it's not insured. It's insured by orb, which is relatively easy to bunker or shield, or when he does it too high that you can't do either of those, it can be annoying. You can typically just like crouch the mix-up, and he gets like less reward if you like crouch and the orb is misspaced. If he tries to like catch you like standing and do a combo standing, yeah, whatever. For H-Wara, he could easily go into not enough data, but I feel like I've played versus Mech, like the player, like Mech the player, like the plus R mod player, to have an opinion on H-Wara. He's like Siwara, but like worse. Wow, this observation has never been made before in the history of Melty Blood ever. He is very annoying because his neutral is good, but he has H-Moon defensive options, which is not very good for him. Like, he has the F-Moon bug on his shield counter, I believe, but he does not get to abuse that as much as F-Wara does with shield into bunker, because he's forced to shield counter all the fucking time. Excuse me. He just does it worse. He has a better anti-air, but like H-Kkohaku is not like a jump-in monkey character like fucking Tono or some shit. Well, no, Tono's not really a jumping monkey. JC is a pretty monkey button. Anyway, let's pause that thought. Like, you don't jump in enough to be caring about his 623A being better. And the differences between H-Wara and Siwara typically just hurt H-Wara in the matchup. So he goes to the very top of like high cortisol length in my personal opinion. I might order this, I might not. It's already an hour and 20 minutes into the video, and we're only talking about losing matchups so far. So I just might not order it, or I might order it in my free time, but like whatever. characters that we went against. Tonos, the rest of the Tonos. F Tono is easily a high cortisol win, low cortisol win. I used to lose really often to Art, also known as H Whiteland, like the player. And he would smoke my shit on H Tono because he is so much better at the game than me 3 years ago. But eventually you kind of realize that like H Tono is like, what if you removed all the power behind C Tono and you like redistributed it into like a bunch of areas that aren't even half as strong as C Tono is. So like C Tono is annoying and you have to deal with him. H Tono is annoying, but you really don't have to deal with him. His movement is like better. Like he has saucier movement, but the power of the tools that he's working with is just so much worse that it is low cortisol. Like he can do damage to you, but really only if you let him. Like he kind of suffers in the fact that like he has the same issues as C Tono, but not as bad because he can actually approach because his air options are like his air dashes are slightly better. But like he still does not do well into H-Kkohaku turtling him and playing raw risk reward with the fact that she deals a quadrillion more damage off of random hits than he does. F Tono, this character makes my blood boil. JB is a button of all time. 5B is most certainly one of the buttons of all time. He just has everything needed to make H-Kkohaku, playing H-Kkohaku, really annoying. Like, he's not broken. He's not even all that good, really. He's just super duper annoying because he will OTG you, and if you ever make a mistake versus F-Tono, you will have to eat 6k damage. And then it will be the most embarrassing 6k damage of your life. And God forbid you trade with his 2C and he does that bullshit OTG shit that builds you like 60 meter. It's not even that powerful, but it sure as hell is annoying. Like, I know it's rich coming from the guy who has 6238 into OTG into a much stronger situation, but like, holy shit, dude, is playing versus F-Tono is really, really annoying. You could maybe argue it that that's more closer to even than it is with C Tono, but I think C Tono is just a better character. He wins more off of his hits in general, but like, don't get hit by F Tono unprepared, folks, or you will just eat a quadrillion damage. You beat him more in neutral than the other Tonos, but when he touches you really hard. You really don't want to get hit by F Tono. Like, his defense is like annoying, but it's less annoying than like. He has more options, I guess, with the 214C, but it's not strong. It's like pretty easy to shield 214C on reaction. EX slide on reaction is also pretty easy to shield. Like, he gets really fucked over once you learn the matchup, but like, even once you've learned the matchup, you will miss base and you will get hit by something, and he will be up 6k damage, and then you're like, oh wait, F Tono is like the goat at turtling. Like, yeah, C Tono is really good at turtling, but he's nowhere near as good as F Tono. So, and your character's not all that good at approaching. So how do you approach someone who's like turtled up really, really hard with really strong air-to-air buttons that can pretty consistently beat yours once he has life lead, because he's going to be placing them in spots that you can't contest as freely. Yeah, this is most definitely a high cortisol win. Sorry, V Scion. You're a better character than this. You actually, HV Scion now takes the benefit of being the highest ranked character in low cortisol wins. This character is just sad. All three of these characters are really sad. Actually, there needs to be an extra tier for soft drinks. SV Scion. Add a row above. Literally negative cortisol. This matchup is like the freest wins that I've never deserved in this game ever. This is probably her best matchup, if not for the fact that these two characters are shittier somehow. Like, this character is like, so like, a character that doesn't have a real dash versus Hkohaku 2C is like, especially versus the Hkohaku that deals the most damage generally off of 2C with 2C 623A relaunch and 2C 5A with 6AA. Like, she's just free eats to H-Kkohaku. Like, she has some shit, but her neutral is like not good. She can't enforce any of her shit all that well, really. Like, she just has gimmicks. She's literally just running gimmicks at you the whole entire fucking time. And she's just really, really, really bad versus H-Kkohaku. Like it's genuinely, like soft drinks is a way better player than I was when I was beating them on H-Kkohaku like 2 years ago. Soft drinks way better than me, but I was beating them because their character is literally dog shit versus my character. Like FV Sion is not good anyway, but like versus H-Kkohaku, literal mountain mover. And soft drinks would still get games off of me too. So like they were moving mountains, but like this character, that's kind of like a prerequisite to play this character. These two are easily low cortisol wins. I think they're probably one of the easiest matchups I play generally. Like Scrott's the only CV scenario I've ever played and had to go, this might actually be somewhat difficult. And even versus Scrott CV Scion, I am nowhere near as scared as when he pulls out the regular Scion. Even if his Scion is rusty, I think this matchup is just so bad for the V Scions. Like they try to run a similar game plan as H-Kkohaku, but their stats are just all worse. They have worse bunker. They have like the thing about them that makes them annoying is that they have a really, really good dash. This one doesn't even have a good dash, which is why she's a negative cortisol. These two have really good dashes and really good 5'8", so they can dash 5'8" like nobody's business. But like that's not enough. They don't have strong enough neutral. Their Oki is okay, but like versus the Oki queen that is H-Kkohaku, you really do not want to have your strongest point be Oki. Yeah, like versus H-Kkohaku, if your strongest point is Oki and your Oki's not even as good as hers, it's like you're just calling it raps at this point. Yeah, these two characters are just really sad versus H-Kkohaku. She just kind of just consistently beats them in neutral, and then she takes them to the corner. They are the second easiest character to Bateau Loop. The order is Wara, Scion, and then Coma. You literally learn how to Bateau Loop versus Scions anyway, versus V Scion, because that's the most consistent character to Bateau Loop. Bopper loops work super duper consistently versus V Scion too. They are the most consistent on V Scion compared to literally any other character except for Nero, and we're going to talk about Nero way later, by the way. Don't worry about him. These characters just they're easy to combo. They don't have enough Oki. Their block string pressure is not super duper good and consistent versus even H-Kkohaku. They ain't doing much. They can win, but it's honest work, and you don't really want to be super duper honest versus H-Kkohaku, who can cheese you out if she gets a command grab. I think that's it for characters that I would say are in wins. Actually, I almost forgot like a big one. I think like okay, there's like one or two big matchups that I forgot. Seawark, high cortisol win. She is easily the lowest ranked character other than Cats in this high cortisol wins. Actually, no, FMech is here. Depends on what you put FMech. Seawark, actually, how much of that is Alma being really, really, really good at the game, though? Let's do the other warks first. I put H-Wark in low cortisol win, most definitely, because she is. These two, though, they play really well into H-Kkohaku's ground buttons, and they do not make it easy to approach them in the air either. I think these both deserve high cortisol. 623A does a lot in this matchup in regards to both anti-airing and dealing with rings. It also deals with ground wings as well, so you're going to be doing a lot of dash 623A in this matchup. 623A has relatively low recovery, so it's not that bad to be whiffing in neutral. And even if they block it and they dash block it, it's like only -7 if they dash block into it. So it's like not that bad to be throwing out in neutral. These characters have really good 2Bs, and that's really like the only reason they're this high up in high cortisol wins. They have a strong low profile button that makes it hard to pin them after they land stupidly, and tracking and pinning their landings is super difficult due to rings and all their air options. Yeah, they still lose to H-Kkohaku, but they are not free eats. Speaking of free eats, let's name that tier that. High cortisol wins. And now for the last character in Hard Issues But You Win, Hkohaku mech. this character is like, first let's talk about Hkohaku mech. They're dog shit. They barely work. Their buttons do shit, but like she has JB and 2C, but JB and 2C are not enough to carry a character. If they were, Hkohaku would be better in every other version of Melty that she does not have command grabbing. Like JB and 2C in the context of CC are strong because they are on characters with broken Oki. This character does not have broken Oki, she has broken buttons. And by broken, as in they don't work. She's in free eats. Any other character I want to move to free eats? I think H-Mech is free eats. Yeah, everything. Yeah, that's right. That's everything else is like notably more difficult to actually win versus people who are trying. These 5, even if the person's trying, it's relatively easy to win. What was I doing next? Hkohaku mech. Hard issues, but you win. This is probably, if it weren't for the fact that fucking C White Len and F White Len are here, these would be the lowest characters in this tier. Lowest ranked characters in this tier. They have shit. Dude, the fact that 236A is a sweep will never not piss me off. What do you mean 7-frame bufferable sweep? What do you mean that 236B is 2 frames faster than mine? Effectively 3, because their first 2 frames of like H-Kkohaku 236B does not hit airborne foes till frame 11. Theirs 236B hits people on frame 8. The fuck do you mean by that? Come on. They have really good 236B anti-air. They have a really good 236A trade. Their issue is that they are not as good as confirming 2C. Like, you win the 2C wars versus them, and that's the reason that they give you heart issues. But like everything else about their kit is like jank in a way that benefits them. It is so annoying. This is just a this matchup pisses me off. These characters are cheese lords, like genuine cheese lords, dripping with cheese. Any other characters that we win versus that are not? Let's rip the band-aid off and talk about Nania. Yeah, let's just fucking rip the band-aid off. Nania is not free eats solely because he has air donkey kick, and if you ever disrespect air donkey kick, if you ever believe Nania is free eats, you'll very quickly get air donkey kicked and 5 beat into submission and realizing that, oh wait, yeah, he's a character that I have to respect in this game. He has the worst DP out of any Nania, which is pretty bad. Honestly, I think his DP is like way worse than the average DP in this game, for being real here. His EX DP is also like hilariously bad. His defense is, because of the fact that he has bad DPs, and his bunker is not all that impressive. The fact that his A buttons are 6 frames does really bad things to him, especially considering the fact that we're talking about a character's matchups who has a 4-frame command grab and who's going to be fishing for it a lot. It's a lot harder to mash out of it on H-Nania than it is like most other characters for like no good reason. He doesn't win neutral, he does not win offense, he is very easily a low cortisol win. He can sometimes jump into high cortisol when you're getting donkey kicked like unpredictably, but like let's be real, that doesn't happen super often. Next, F-Nania. High cortisol win. I play versus F-Nania a lot. A lot of F-Nanias do not pay attention to what's happening on the screen. If more F-Nanias paid attention to what exactly was happening on the screens and how they were losing and winning each game, oh lord, they would be a lot better. F-Nania dive kick pretty much turns off the ability to JB in most situations, unless the Nania player is just like very committed to doing it in really bad ones. It's really hard to explain, but his dive kick is active till he hits the ground, so you effectively are forced into like chicken blocking it, because you can't really contest it with JB unless you do your JB super duper preemptively. But if you are doing it super duper preemptively, you are rising JBing sometimes versus an opponent who's on the ground, who will just take the space and will pin your landing and then will kill you. Like F-Nania's pressure, like the reason he's not in hard issues but you win, denoting that he's like 5.5 or like closer to even, is that his Oki is not super duper strong. Like it doesn't do a lot of damage really. That's like his neutral is very very annoying for H-Kkohaku. but he gets reward mogged essentially. And while his neutral is annoying, it's not like broken versus her or anything. He has the JC to be annoying, but he doesn't have like he has JC and dive kick, but he's not like super duper broken or I don't. Let me double check this real quick. I don't think he has 2B, and I think like that's probably like the fucking reason he's going to be in this tier. But I might just be lying because like it's fucking 93 characters in this game, and I can't remember if each and every single one of them has the correct number all the fucking time, man. Give me a break. We're like an hour and a half into this video. Whatever. Let me double check. Afnania. No, he does have 2B. What is the button that he's lacking that makes dealing with him in neutral way easier? I think it's slashy hands. Yeah. Yeah, the fact that he doesn't have slashy hands. I don't know why I thought it was 2B for some reason. That makes slashy hands is actually a decent neutral tool versus H-Kkohaku. Man, I don't fucking know why I said 2B. Whatever, man. I'm an hour deep into this. I'm sorry for getting some shit wrong. Good thing I double checked before I logged and said he didn't have fucking 2B. He's not as annoying primarily because he doesn't have slashy hands. So for like slashy hands versus a character that can't EX block is like really annoying, and he doesn't have that, so he's a lot less annoying. He also has like I don't know, bro. His damage for Afmoon is like relatively low. At least when I play into Afnania's. He's difficult to win versus, but he's not like it doesn't ever feel like he's like at a numerical advantage over me, like in any sort of situation. It's like, oh, don't press JB like at all versus this character. Rely more on JC charge. Be careful and just air blocks, dive kicks and shit. Like he's strong. I don't know if he's the stronger Nania, but like versus my character, he's most definitely not the stronger Nania. See Nania, hard issues, but you win. The fact that I'm saying that H-Kkohaku wins versus Nania, despite the fact that if I pull up my fucking win rate versus Nania, holy shit, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. It's like 50%, and 98% of these games are like versus fucking Alps. So, the fact that it's that even, you could argue it could be even. I think it's wins. Even though the Alps Nania smokes me, I think H-Kkohaku just generally wins that matchup. And he's smoking me because he's better than me, as opposed to it being like a character thing. But it's very hard. The combination of JC, slashy hands, 2B, and he has the best DP out of the three. He has C-Moon mechanics, so his defense is a lot more annoying to deal with out of any of the Nanias. Like, it is not easy to deal with C Nania when he's doing his bullshit. And his bullshit hurts way less than your bullshit, but it's like, I feel like again, H-Kkohaku wins this matchup by like reward marking him. She does more damage off of her command throws and her bomb Oki bullshit than he does off of like looping. Like, it's very possible to clean up your defense versus Nania to the degree that you can consistently win out rounds from like hitting him, getting small stray hits out of his defense, out of his offense, by taking your turn back. Like that's like the only reason that he loses this matchup though. He's super duper annoying. Like Nania JC into H-Kkohaku JB is CB and T. It's not fun to place JB versus a character with JC. Like, sure, he doesn't have die kick, so it's actually doable in this matchup to press JB and not look like a dumbass. But like, Nania doesn't make it easy. JC is there. JB allows him to do deep jump-ins and mix up his timing so he doesn't like lose to shield. Man, the fact that he can't like dive kick is like he still has fast fall though, so he has ways to mix up his air momentum and fake you out. Slashy hands do a lot of work in this matchup. The fact that I also generally think that versus H-Kkohaku specifically, the style of pressure that C Nania runs is a lot more scary than the style of pressure that F Nania runs. Versus a character with relatively poor Abare, like the shit that C Nania be doing is way more scary to interact and deal with than F Nania, who's doing Rekka, pause, Rekka, whatever. So like C Nania is just better in neutral, and that's I think what gives him a higher bump up the tier list into hard issues but you win. Um, Let me double check real quick. Let's talk about Alco real quick. Um, C Alco low cortisol wins. That's a hot take, I think. F Alco high cortisol win. H Alco heart issues, but you win. I don't know if you could swap these two, but personally, I feel like it is. But then again, Ryder exists, so we have to account for my bias versus Ryder being a really, really good player. I think both of them go in high cortisol win. I think maybe you should put F Alco here. We've literally never had a super strong F Alco player, and I still get super duper pissed off versus the players who play that character. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put F Alco here. C Alco, her issue, she's generally the best Alco, but versus H-Kkohaku, I've literally been winning games versus Hardbred for like 2 years, and like 2 years ago I was not good at this game. Like Hardbred was way better at the game than me 2 years ago, but he would still drop sets to me because I think this matchup is just like hilariously bad for Siako, because like a lot of her basic gameplay tenets just don't work versus H-Kkohaku, and it has a lot to do with 2-2B. I genuinely think that H-Kkohaku does better into Siako than C-Kkohaku does. This is probably a hot take, like a really hot take. It's not free eats. It's like Siako still has ways to fight back, but like out of all the low cortisol wins, it's probably arguable this is like the easiest low cortisol win. Not the easiest, most definitely. There's fucking characters like F-Kkohaku here, but like for a character of this power level, this being in this tier is like probably very surprising. But I think like, I've literally never played into a Siako and gone, holy shit, this is scary. Like, it's like, oh, she throws me. Well, because I easily could have taken that throw. And, like, she doesn't do anything super scary to you generally. Like, she can do scary shit to you, but it's like so hella telegraphed, and it loses hard to bunker. I think EX bunker does a fuck ton versus Siako, especially considering the fact that H-Kkohaku EX bunker is so huge that a lot of setups that are bunker safe are not bunker safe versus H-Kkohaku. And H-Kkohaku takes her bunkers and takes the advantage that she gets from them versus Siako to the bank. Unlike maybe unlike Scion, or maybe Hime probably does too, but I don't know enough about the Hime Alco matchup to say anything super specific. But like, versus excuse me, sorry, I had a yawn. Versus Siako specifically, I think like 2-2B essentially kills Orb Fortresses. That's not a valid game plan versus H-Kkohaku. You will get bitched into getting an air throne or getting into like regular throne if you follow up with the air fortress. So they're forced to start doing like lasers in neutral, which is something they usually do, but they have to actually do it versus you, which allows you to take space. Like Siako can fight back, but she's fighting back from the back foot. 5B and 2C combined, like she kind of runs into the same issue that the F-Koma and H-Koma run into, where like some of their basic game plans just don't work versus her all that well, so they're on the back foot already doing situations that aren't all as strong. And the way they gamble versus H-Kkohaku is like, yeah, it can be annoying, but it's not annoying enough to like consistently win. And even when they do gamble correctly, the reward's not high enough. The thing that makes me think that Alco and F Alco are better into H-Kkohaku is just reward mogging, really. Like H Alco is like really, really good at full carry, or well, close to full carry as possible, into Fuzzy. And Kohaku is tall. Like H-Kkohaku is like 7th tallest character. Like the Kohaku in general is just tall. So she gets fuzzied pretty easily by H-Alco. And like JA, like the one saving grace of C-Alco is JA. And the fact that she can also run a fuzzy, even though it's much more difficult and less consistent. H-Alco has the JA. She has better tools to deal with. Like she's not running like an Orb Fort game plan, so her strength is not like relied on turtling up and not interacting with H-Kkohaku, because if she tries doing that versus H-Kkohaku, she also loses spectacularly. But H-Alco can scrap in the mid range a lot better than C-Alco can, which typically lets her get her game plan going. And when she does get going, her fuzzy is it's not as broken as H-Kkohaku 2-2 Aoki, but it's just as scary in my personal opinion in this matchup. So you do have to be careful, but you could definitely argue that this could go in like very it's very close to being a low cortisol one. It's literally just the fuzzy that puts us there. This character is fucking brain dead. Like you will lose games to this character, but like you do win the matchup. It's just that Hkohaku will just fucking blue fire mix you. Blue fire mix. If she did not have no fucking blue fire mix, this shit would be low cortisol free. But she does have blue fire, and it's a thing you do have to pay attention to. And you have to guess on. Literally everything else about this matchup is so fucking free that it wouldn't be any problems, but then blue fire exists, and this character is really good at making you have to fucking deal with blue fire, so it's hard issues. Like her Oki is just so good and so uninteractive. Like, yeah, you got bunker for one blue fire you get to deal with for free. Every other one, if you don't have bunker or you need to save the meter, you just gotta eat that shit, bro. Her buttons are like 5B is super annoying, 2B is annoying. She's better at mashing your long range resets than the other Hkohas, but all the Hkohas are relatively decent at mashing the resets. Other than Hkoha. Hkoha struggles the most at like dealing with Hkohaku at 2C range when she's in the corner. Like these two have like buttons to press, but like Hkoha has the best buttons to press in that situation. She's most easily like the freest character in hard issues, but you win. But I just need to demonstrate just how fucking broken blue fire is as a tool in this matchup for evening up the odds. You still win the matchup too, but it's just like it's so strong. It's like, again, it's what I said earlier like an hour ago in regards to making sure your point when it comes to H-Kkohaku matchup, you really don't want your points to be in fucking block string offense, because like, oh boy, most of the cast beats her on when they're on block string offense anyway. Like H-Rug, strong kit, but like it's not enough versus Mrs. If I touch you, I kill you. Hkohaku, strong kit, but she like tries to turtle up 2-2 a B, blows the house in, and then she has to start scrapping, and she's not as good at scrapping as H-Kkohaku is. And when H-Kkohaku correctly scraps, she deals much more damage. Hkohaku, she correctly scraps. Are you ready for your blue fire mixer? I hope you're ready to eat it. It's very delicious. Anyway, next character. I think we're almost done on the characters. We need one more tier above Freeze. Add a row above. Make it this color. I'm you, but stronger. Where did I put H-Maids? You should never play H-Maids over H-Kkohaku. I'm very sorry to be the one to tell you this. You probably should know this already. If you play H-Maids with this intention of winning a bracket, you're playing H-Kkohaku lead and you're trying to like... The only thing they have over H-Kkohaku is the fact that Hisui can set up the bomb and she can detonate it on people's wake-ups by like 214A assisting them and then like forcing them to block it or some shit. Like that's literally all they have. Like this matchup is like low cortisol wins, really. So I will probably move it. Free eats. Free eats is just so free, but like you really should not. This is just to highlight that this H-Kkohaku is just H-Maids, but like way better. You really should not be playing H-Maids. The H-Sweet kit and H-Maids is like so bare bones and so not worth talking about that you really just end up playing H-Kkohaku lead. It's not a real character otherwise. So. H-Kkohaku into H-Kkohaku is super fucking annoying because of the command grab too. Because you just command grab them out of their own Oki. Because you're doing it at like the same spacings generally. So you just like command grab them. And you, but then you have to like, oh, can you actually, are you good at bopper looping Hkohaku into the other corner and getting your Oki started? If not, tough luck. Because then I don't mind even the command grab is hard. But like, this character can't even do that matchup. So she can't even like do what you need to do in the mirror in order to like stand a fighting chance. She has the same buttons, yeah. She has the assist that's dog shit, yeah. But like, not good character. Next. Time to start talking about some even match. matchups, I think. In a very surprise twist, I think F Miyako is even. This is a hot take, I think. But F Miyako, I think, is even. If both players are at high skill level, F Miyako is even. H Miyako, low quarter soul win. Actually, C Miyako is most definitely a low quarter soul win. H Miyako is high quarter soul. JB and JC are such bullshit ass annoying buttons that you cannot JB versus this character. And that's really annoying because this character is super small to hit in the air anyway. So like the very big question is, how do I pin Miyako? You can pin H and C Miyako because they have landing lag, and their other tools are not super duper strong. Like they have the JB and the JC, but their tools are just generally not super duper broken. You can't pin F Miyako generally. Her JC is strong, like her JC is so active, and she's typically in like positions that you can't reach very easily. Like Miyako simply just cannonballs at you. Like she's mini Len. She does the same thing that Len does to you to win, but like her issue is like she's worse at neutral, and when she does hit you, despite dealing more damage than Len, her pressure is not as strong as Len. Like she literally just does the same thing Len does to you, but like worse. And unlike with Len, where you can theoretically outplay her by preemptive buttons and spacing them at positions where she won't get where she will get counter hit. You can't do that versus this character because 7-frame buttons that are 7-frame active buttons are like not feasible to counter hit like that. She sort of just like plays like she sets the bar. Like F Miyako sets the bar in neutral of how the game is going to go, and it's your job as the H-Kkohaku player to like hit her and make the hits matter. But like the issue is, first things first, Miyako's hurt box is dog shit. Like complete and utter dog shit. Like it is there is not a super consistent way to toe loop her in the corner. She's like the only character that with toe looping in the corner is like super hilariously inconsistent on. Every other character has at least one way to toe loop consistently. Not Miyako. She will just randomly fall out. And if you can't consistently keep her in the corner, like she is not good at escaping the corner once you have put her in there. And she cannot take space once you've claimed it as easily. So you could definitely argue that she could go here, but I genuinely think the fact that she does so well in neutral versus H-Kkohaku that it is very obscene. You can't jump in on her either. You don't have the Hkohaku JC, so you can't jump in on F Miyako because her 5A will just consistently anti-air you. You can't jump in on her. It's super hard to convert hits cleanly on her because her hitbox is omega fucking weird. She is just she's easily the most weird even matchup in this game. You could definitely put it here. I'm pretty sure J-Bo will say like the H-Kkohaku Miyako should be here. But my opinion as a Hkohaku player, this matchup is just even. Ever so slight advantage to H-Kkohaku because H-Kkohaku's reward is just so much better because she gets like when she gets the command throw at least. But this character grapples you better than you fucking grapple her, and her grapples are like they're like 2K and some change into like Oki. The Oki is not like insured or anything, but it's still there. It could still be worse. Like I don't know, bro. I think this character is like most definitely like the poster child even matchup that you would not expect the even matchup to be. Oh, I put H-Arc there instead of F-Arc. H-Arc's... I'll get to H-Arc later. I'll think about it a little bit more. Even matchups. F-E Sui. I'll do that a little later, I guess, actually. Who do I want to put in even? C-Sion actually is a pretty good, clean example of an even matchup. Both of you combo each other very well. Actually, as a player who, as the guy who's been playing C Cyan easily for a while, I can't combo Kohaku and C Cyan all that consistently actually. But like it's easier than fucking Nanya and Alka, so it's not too difficult. But both of you guys combo each other well. All of your bullshit works on each other. It's a scrappy brawly matchup that the better player wins in. There's like very little cheese in this matchup other than H-Kkohaku's inherent cheese, and I guess C Cyan's overhead. But like once you play Seaside a little bit, you kind of just start being able to tell when the people will go for overhead and shit. But like whatever, that's not neither here nor there. It's an even matchup. It's nothing worth like really talking about. Really, it's very even. F-Len, F-Len, I do not have a. I think C-Len's even. I think it's either even or hard issues, but you win. Len has been giving me trouble in this game ever since like the first time I played Limescale, and Len is just like the perfect concoction of everything that H-Kkohaku struggles to deal with. Really good air buttons, really belligerent in the air. So H-Kkohaku's lack of like a consistent air to air that's not like preemptive JB really shines. This character can poke out JC with relative consistency, and you just cannot jump in on her because of the existence of Catwalk. C Len is most definitely the Len that does the worst into H-Kkohaku. Her lack of air momentum on ice and the fact that she replaces this with cats and hammer loops is not enough to make up for the fact that she loses a lot of the stuff that's super duper strong into H-Kkohaku. She can still play the matchup. She still has cats. She still has like overhead cat. She still has JC, J2C. She still has JB. She still has all the stuff that H-Kkohaku hates dealing with. But her block string offense is like way weaker than the other two, and her neutral is not as impressive as Len. Like F-Len has better neutral. H-Len has better neutral and offense, but like C-Len has neither. But she just by being a Len, she is like immune to 2C OTG. Just by being a Len, she makes 5B one of the most dogshit buttons to ever grace this planet. Just by being a Len, she makes consistent conversions like not really feasible. Len is just a character that you never want to see as H-Kkohaku. Honestly, you just don't want to see it. See Len's right there. F Maze is probably even or hard issues, but you win. This character is like, I'm gonna put them in hard issues, but you win. It's very close. You could definitely make an argument of being even. I think they're a better character than like H-Kkohaku in general, but like their block string offense bullshit is not super. Like again, it's the same deal as H-Rube. They're literally H-Rube 2.0, in which they have broken block string offense, but like H-Kkohaku does not give a shit if you block string her longer than the other characters because like she tends to have to eat that shit anyway. So you really just need raw Oki, and the raw Oki is mostly just leading into bigger, longer block strings. So they don't really have a super clear defined strength other than their neutral versus her. The piloting shit in neutral is not bad. It's a sort of a gimmick. I've never seen an F-Maze player purposefully pilot their maid super duper well. And that's because this character is super difficult and it doesn't have like a really strong player base yet, but like she has potential to go into even. I think like fully optimized F Maze probably go even, but H-Kkohaku sort of just like reward mogs her, but not by a lot, by the way. But like she does reward mog her. Also, bunker is like an actual key point in this matchup because H-Kkohaku bunker is just so fucking big that a lot of the basic setups that are super strong do not work consistently versus H-Kkohaku because she will just bunker it consistently. And that's not good. When your strongest claim to fame is your block string offense, and H-Kkohaku does not generally care about eating super strong block string offense generally, unless it leads to like fuzzy mix. And like she can actually like gamble on a lot of your setups because of the fucking extreme range of H-Kkohaku bunker. It's not really good like that. Like this character is in hard issues because her neutral is like her neutral is potential, man. her Oki is not even all that interesting as an H-Kkohaku player. As in, like, dealing with it is not like super scary because again, block string offense is not super scary to H-Kkohaku, but like she has neutral shit. Like F maids, like Hisui lead and Kohaku lead are both scary for different reasons, and they can pull out a lot of bullshit in this matchup that gets them the better edge in neutral, but they just lose on like offense. C maids is a toughie. You could either put it in even or in slight advantage. I don't know what I'm going to name this tier, but we are not really talking about the advantage characters yet, so I'm actually kind of in the mood to put this in not enough data. I have strong opinions on the C Hkohaku matchup, but I have strong opinions on the C Hkohaku and the C Hisui matchup. But like, I think Portland win. I'll talk about it more. I'll talk about it more after I'm done talking about Hisui and C Hkohaku by themselves. Let's go. Reese roast beef. High cortisol win for F. For C, it's not easy, but it's doable. I think this goes about right. I already talked about H. For C roast beef, her buttons are generally pretty good. C roast beef also has the shortest OTG timer in the game, so 2C, 2A with 623A does not consistently work on her like it does the rest of the cast, but she does not do much when she hits you other than damage. She does a lot of damage, and that's why she's high cortisol, but she doesn't, like, you don't really mind getting thrown by her. There's not really a fuzzy or anything that she's doing versus you that's super duper scary. So, like, you don't really mind getting hit by her. F Reese, on the other hand, is scary because her block string pressure is really, like, it's still, again, it's another H Rune 2.0, where, like, the reason that she doesn't win the matchup is that, like, oh, wow, block string offense is a H-Kkohaku. That's like what most people do versus her in order to win. But, like, hers is strong enough and her buttons decent enough that she has some things to do. But, like, you still, I think I gotta put her to high cortisol wins because these are more evenish matchups that come down to the wire. This is like 6-4, but like difficult, and this is like 6-4, but it's like easy. And I think she's very easy. She's very much on the border, by the way. But like, yeah, I think she just goes here. Any other characters I would put in? C Vyakia. Gear Dragon plays this character, but I think Gear Dragon doesn't play this matchup right. I think this character could be a problem, but for now, how do I think about this character's future? Dash 5A is like the big issue. Like, I don't want to like versus Gear right now is like low cortisol, but I think once he starts implementing Dash 5A in this matchup, it will be higher cortisol. I don't know if that's enough to fully push it into high cortisol. Dash 5A is like really strong, but then we gotta look at the character we are talking about and what they're getting off of that, and like C Vyakia Pit Oki is annoying, but it's not like meteor management, like denying your opponent the ability to gain meteor on defense is strong. It's like really strong, especially versus an H moon, but it's not. I think she just struggles in neutral otherwise, but I think it could be a high cortisol. I'm very torn on this because I think it has the potential to be here. I'm just gonna put it there now. H-Kkohaku, no data. Is this safe with you? No, this is just regular Akia. F-Akia is a losing matchup, a really tough losing matchup, so she's going to be talked about later. Oh, I forgot F and H Scion. F Scion cortisol 1. H Scion, also high cortisol 1. These characters are very similar in power level. Their neutral is still annoying. They have the Scion dashes. I think F Scion dash is slightly slower, but I don't remember off the top of my head. These characters are like, they just don't do enough damage off of their regular neutral when hits as much as C Scion does, and they don't convert it into stuff that's as scary. I think you could definitely make an argument that F Scion goes in even or hard. I'm gonna put her in here. Not having EX guard versus the character who will be command throwing you a lot if you let her is like such a death sentence for H Scion. Like, these characters all play neutral and approach it about the same way in this matchup. But like, H Scion's bullets don't fucking do anything versus H-Kkohaku because she just air dash blocks them. Like, I've never gotten hit by those bullets and gone, oh, holy shit, that's a cool thing H-Scion can do. It's mostly like, oh, wow. I keep forgetting she has that, but, like, it doesn't really fucking matter in this matchup at all. So, like, her kit, the bullets don't do enough versus H-Kkohaku to be more than, like, she has enough, like, nonsense in her kit with the left, right. She has a decent bunker, a really good bunker. The only bunker in the losing section that's bigger than hers. Yeah, she's just doing. And for F Scion, low key, I've not played an F Scion as good as me for a while, but I think like just on paper, the character's just strong, and she just like her strengths don't get mitigated by H-Kkohaku's strengths either. So like they're just playing multi-blood. These are just like regular matchups, but like H Scion is like I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in high cortisol 1 because I don't know, because it's not like a 6'4" ish, but like I don't know, it's difficult. Like, it's more difficult than fucking H Scion, so I'll just put it here. Like, these two characters, like F Scion and C Scion, are super relatively close in power level. I don't know. Let's keep it like that. Okay. Now for losing matchups. I think all we have left are the losing matchups. I have 30 minutes left to go through every single losing matchup. Did I rank fucking 60 fucking matchups? 2 hours, by the way. Holy shit. This video is going to take forever to render. Well, I thought the fucking cut out the 2 minutes of silence in the middle. Fuck. F Scion. No, F Hisui. Even. Hisui's kit in general is like really, really good into H-Kkohaku. Her Oki is worse, but when you're that much better at neutral than H-Kkohaku, it becomes an even matchup. Like, a lot of these characters have better neutral than H-Kkohaku because H-Kkohaku's neutral is generally not that good. But like, the reward off of a single hit in neutral is what makes H-Kkohaku strong. Like, you could definitely argue Siwara to be even based off of neutral, but I think F Hisui provides more of a challenge in neutral than Siwara. Or do I believe that? Do I really believe that? Maybe I need to make another tier. Because I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Siwara is about as hard as F Miyako and C Scion and C Lan. Like, these characters are all about, I don't know. On one hand, a part of me wants to say Hkohaku beats Wara, but on the other hand, these characters all elicit the same reactions and responses from me in regards to how my character fares into them. So I feel like it would probably be more fair to put Siwara here. Like, these characters, like, versus like Wara and versus both of the Waras, you can argue that H-Kkohaku has like a slightly more winning. It's slightly H-Kkohaku favored, but not by a lot. I think they're closer to even than probably H-Kkohaku favored. But if we're showing characters that are like H-Kkohaku favorite to non-H-Kkohaku favorite in this tier, I think you could. I don't know. I think it's like this. F Hisui has a lot of shit, bro. Anytime I play versus the F Hisui player, it's struggle bus. Even if they're not even all that great at that character just does really, really well into the H-Kkohaku-isms. like she shuts down air dash really well. And while yeah, you shouldn't like be air dashing stupidly on H-Kkohaku anyway. Even if you try to air dash smartly versus her, she's very good at shutting it down and taking space. Her Oki is like not impressive, but like again, you don't really need Oki that broken when you just win neutral all the time. I'll think of funnier names for this in a second. I want to come back to FQ3. FQ3 might need to be here, but like I think he's just even. One of these issues with this was just one of those issues with the tier list. Actually, let's do something. Let's talk about the extremes real quick. Hkohaku. This matchup is dog shit. Hkohaku has a quadrillion health. She's really, really good at denying you the ability to move. Her JA is absurd. It beats like all of your air options from where she will be using it. And she's very, very good at catching your air dash startup, so you barely get to air dash versus her. She gets to control. She essentially has full control over neutral, and she sort of just starts with that control at the beginning of the round, and you sort of have to try to wrest it back from her. And you are essentially playing uphill for the entirety of the game. The way you win versus Hkohaku is by like timer scamming her, because it's really, really hard to kill her because her defense is not like amazing. But she has EX guard, she has an EX DP, and she has a quadrillion health. And she also has, you know, IH and all the system mechanics nonsense. So she's pretty damn good at surviving your onslaught. And it's very, very difficult to snowball versus her. Especially considering the fact that if you ever let this character go back to neutral, she starts winning neutral. Like almost automatically. Like one of the strongest parts about H-Kkohaku Oki is that even if you jump the throw, you typically are going back to neutral with slight disadvantage. That's not really the case for Hkohaku. She's like going into neutral with slight advantage. Like, yeah, sure, she has to deal with the fact that you can pin her landing, but you can't afford to commit too hard to do that, and she is really, really good at like besting your buttons in neutral. She's also really good at landing relatively freely because she's an F moon, so she doesn't have to deal with the 2 frames of landing recovery, and she's also really good at like killing you. Hkohaku snowballs versus H moons really, really bad. You're like the optimal way to like play defense versus her is by trying to take hits that are difficult to convert so you can jump out. That's it. Like it's very, very difficult to consistently get out of Hkohaku pressure because it's just so airtight and so like it's super duper strong and super duper basic. Like she is probably like the only H-Rex character who wins on block string offense that actually like enforces that game plan versus H-Kkohaku, but that's also because she just wins neutral as well. So you spend most of your time just either losing in neutral or losing on defense. And when you finally get your hit versus her, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and she usually has the resources from winning neutral in order to gamble to try and go back to like playing neutral again. And she does just win neutral if you ever try to go into that game state. So like you can force Hkohaku to lose neutral by having a huge life lead, but unlike the characters unlike the shitters where like the life lead is like not that big, like where you can win off the timeout like 3k life lead, Hkohaku will not let you do that, bro. She has significant ship on her specials. You need like a 6k life lead in order to get away with like playing super lane versus her. And if you have a 6k life lead, one could argue that unless the timer is under 30 seconds, your odds are better in just like trying to kill her faster before she gets meter and she gets IH and she starts becoming a problem in neutral again that you have to deal with. She's just so good at like neutral and defense, and her offense is like fucking broken versus H-Moon too. So like it's all fucking horrible to deal with. This is probably one of like her worst, H-Kkohaku's worst matchups. It's not fun. It's not all that interactive. Cheese or be cheese, and she's going to have a lot easier time cheesing you than you are going to have cheesing her. Another brain dead boring matchup, Satsuki. H-Kkohaku might have the strongest insured Oki in the game, but Satsuki has the strongest uninsured Oki in the game, and she's more than willing to fucking gamble. Her 2C is a button that is 5 frames and low profiles your 5C starting from frame 2. It makes pinning makes pinning as I've been talking for too long. It makes pinning C Satsuki very inconsistent in general. In fact, all the Satsukis are winning matchups primarily because of 2C and some other bullshit, but we'll go into that a little bit later. Like her block string offense is like notably bad for a character in dog shit tier. Like of the characters that beat H-Kkohaku, this is probably the character that gives you the most chances to like get out of block string offense and go to neutral. And like, yeah, this is probably like the only matchup in dog shit in which you win neutral, but like it's really hard to make any of these fucking hits matter, man, versus Satsuki. Like it's hard to get a hit versus Satsuki anyway, because she has like really good neutral tools in like JC. Her JA is disjointed and it's pretty decent at its job. She has 2-2X, so jumping in on her or even just like hovering in the air is become extremely disincentivized, especially combined with the fact that she has 623C as well. Like 623C is generally not like a super important aspect of most matchups because like it's a hard call out generally, but like when H-Kkohaku tends to like linger in the air at that distance in order to threaten her charge JC or regular JC in most matchups, being able to shut down that strategy very effectively is very strong because it allows her to start getting silly on her own on defense essentially. And like C Satsuki is like probably the best character out of the characters in dog shit of like turning the game around from defense. Like F Aki has a bunch of health and she has a reversal, but she still kind of struggles in like getting her turn back once H-Kkohaku's gotten the party started. C Satsuki does not really struggle. She has 2-2C, 2-1-4C, 2-3-6C. She has all the regular C-moon options of shield, dodge, and all that nonsense. She, like, it's very hard to win neutral versus Satsuki. And once you do win neutral, it's really hard to get that win, to make that lead into Bomoki. Like it's really hard to get clean strikes at all versus Satsuki, but it's harder to get throws. I think that's one way of putting it. Like it's just she interacts with your block string offense really well. H-Kkohaku block string offense is not all that strong, but 2C is just a thing that exists that shuts down the like vast majority of the linger and wait in like 5C range strategies that H-Kkohaku tends to rely on in order for her block string offense to do literally anything. And she has a super broken 5A. Like you can trade with it with 5C JC at max range, and they typically cannot convert off of it. But like, brother, it's not like. Do we hear ourselves here? We're like JCing at max range and doing like JC2C, 623A pluck up for like what 3K, as opposed to if she gets a clean 5-8 counter hit on you, you're eating like 4.2 plus K. Like hello. C Satsuki is just a character that will Sandura you to death. It's extremely demoralizing, and she just sort of wins defense and offense, even though she loses neutral. And even though she loses neutral, she doesn't lose it cleanly enough for it to actually be a matchup that's in H-Kkohaku's favor. Another dog shit matchup, C-Roa. I'm honestly, gun to my head, I would rather play versus a C-Roa than a F Akiya. I think F Akiya might be the most dog shit matchup H-Kkohaku has to deal with. C-Roa, before he gets the orbs up, is like peaceful. It's high cortisol. It's just high cortisol. But then he gets the orbs up, and then he starts touching you, and then he starts building the meterinator, and then he has a quadrillion meter. You have none. Then like you can't fucking stall versus him because then he will charge up 2-2C stacks, and then he will summon lightning on your ass. So you can't stall versus him. You have to deal with the orbs. You can't just let him sit up behind orbs. Like before he gets the first orb up, it's doable. Like if you are going to, like you can snowball C-Roa. In fact, the fact that you can snowball C-Roa because his DP is not good is the only reason that he's not in dog shit. But he's like the worst matchup in this tier that I have unnamed yet. Like these two are like complete dog shit. There's no real way to play these two outs other than just gapping the opponent. This one you can do versus people who are the same skill level. It's called Don't Let Them Get Orbs Up for Free, because you have JB and JC charged. And you can having 2C allows you to shut down some very specific robot orb sequences that a lot of role players use to autopilot that are typically very strong. So I think it's not dog shit, but it comes really close. It's probably the most dog shit of whatever other characters I put in this tier. I'm gonna need a tier above. I'm gonna make green. Okay. Hime's. Let's talk about Hime's real quick. C Hime is probably the closest to even this matchup chart gets. F Hime is just bad. I don't think it's as bad as these two. Maybe these two need to be in their own tier. I have a funny thing to insult Hime players with in regards to this, but like, I think I'm gonna fill out the Hime's first and then talk about it. I think H-Kkohaku loses these, but I need to consider how badly she loses these. These three characters just like fucking smoke her in neutral, and they have strong enough offense to like make the fact that she smokes them in neutral really bad. But also, you smoke them. It's smoke or be smoked. I think that's a good name for this tier. I was originally going to, this is ordered, by the way, from worst to best. Zero is most easily the biggest problem in this tier as like a matchup. It's not like super consistent to beat orbs. F Hime has the strongest neutral and the strongest geysers out of all of them. I think C Hime is probably closer to even than these three, but whatever. Originally, I was going to name this tier playable until the opponent has a brain. But like these characters just lose so hard on H-Kkohaku's offense that it's not too bad. It's like 6-4. These are all 6-4s, except maybe Hime, who is probably like a 5.5, 4.5 in Hime flavor. Give me 1 second, I have to pause. Okay, my family's back, so I gotta get the ball rolling on this in regards to tier list thing, my fucking character opinion. So let's kind of hurry it up. We're already 2 hours deep. Whatever. Hkohaku, smoke or be smoked. This character literally dies in 2 command throws. Yes, 2 command throws, not 2 strikes. But she is almost impossible to hit. It's very, very difficult to force her to block. But once you start forcing her to block, you can win the matchup. But her neutral is so good that she should not be in that position. It's smoke or be smoked. 6-4, probably. Like, if you get a single JB hit versus Hkohaku, that's a counter hit, you can just win the game with proper conversions, because 1 strike into 1 command throw, or 2 command throws, if you're nutty enough, do just kill her again. You do so much damage and Hkohaku gets hit by certain optimized routes that some other characters don't, so she takes like a quadrillion damage from H-Kkohaku on average. So you can smoke her, but they shouldn't be giving you opportunities to smoke them if they're played by someone who's at the same skill level than you. But you can smoke them, which is why I think I'm just gonna put the smoke or be smoked for these. Dog shit. H Sasuke is nowhere near dog shit. It's bad. I don't have any memes to say these matchups are just bad. They're not like horrible. They're not dog shit. They're not smoke or be smoked bad, but they are bad. H Sasuke has JB, which you can barely interact with, but that's the beauty of Hkohaku. You sort of just don't have to interact with it. You can just set up 2-2B. You can sort of just feint 2-3-6B as an anti-air to it. It covers the similar spacing that you would usually be in order to do the JB charged. 2C is a super strong button and a super integral button into her winning this matchup. The fact that she has the Sasuke EX specials that allow her to gamble her life away on defense is not great, because you still have to deal with that. But her having a real throw makes her sort of scarier on offense, but even though she kind of trades that off for being less scary on Oki. So it's bad. You could argue this be even, but I think it's just bad. F Satsuki is in the same tier as H Satsuki. Both of these characters are completely different in really what they do, but both of them sort of abuse the same weaknesses in H-Kkohaku's kit. H-Kkohaku struggles to deal with characters with low-profile buttons that they like to spam in the mid-range, so characters with strong 2Bs like F-Wark and C-Wark, and sooner or later on the list, C-Arc and who's another strong 2B? I can't think of one right now. Whatever. I need to quickly hurry this up. Less yapping, more I'm plotting characters on the list. And with characters who have strong buttons in the mid-range, especially sweeps that go under 5C, do very well into H-Kkohaku. F Satsuki has the unique ability in order to press the air button into 2C immediately with 0 frames of landing recovery other than the neutral frame. This is super duper strong because it means that instead of your typical 4 frames to pin Satsuki, you only have 1 frame effectively to pin her. No, 2 frames. The first frame of 2C and the neutral frame, as opposed to your typical 3 or 4 frames to pin Satsuki pressing 2C after landing. This generally does matter because Satsuki, like again, Satsuki neutral is not exactly the best, but like the reward they get off of hitting you is like so much higher than yours, consistently at least. Like H-Kkohaku can get higher reward, but she doesn't do it consistently enough to make these matchups not bad. Like I could go into more detail, but we are like 2.5 hours in, bro. Like let's hurry it up. C Seifuku. Smoke or be smoked is F Seifuku. Actually, I forgot to rank. High cortisol wins. This character's Oki is brain dead and powerful and strong. It's like mini F Aoko Oki, but this character's neutral is like it's whatever. Her neutral is like strong into like the basic H-Kkohaku game plan, but it's not strong enough to carry for the fact that she has no damage outside of like very particular hits that you can just choose to not eat. C Nero. This character has a quadrillion health for no fucking reason, bro. If you cut his health in half, he would probably still be even or bad. Same goes for F Nero, but like there's a bunch of, I think they go here. There's a whole bunch of counterplay that is effective and doable versus these two. That is more than just like, oh, crush on Oki or explode. You can actually play neutral with these two, and you can interact with them enough in order to win the matchups generally. F Nero, you get to shield Rhino. That's very unique across the cast because a lot of characters, both Rhino and 5C Chomp, like you get to shield and deal with both 5C Chomp and Rhino, which is very unique because most characters just gotta hold those two. And the fact that these two characters have to actually worry about your shield on defense gives you some wiggle room to play with when you're on the back foot. But like EX Crows, like air throw into EX Crows is the good old GG's. It's not exactly a doable situation, but there is counterplay. There's more counterplay on H-Kkohaku than there are on a lot of characters for these bad situations. But both of these sort of just win out consistency. Like all these characters that win versus H-Kkohaku, they don't interact as much with her snowbally game plan, and they just win off of consistency. Like that's why the most dog shit matchup is F Akiya. She just like completely out consistencies H-Kkohaku and nullifies her strength and her explosiveness. Like C Satsuki out explosives H-Kkohaku. F Akiya, like she weathers the storm and she makes it her time. C Hkohaku. Smoke or be smoked. This character is she worse than she's more playable than fucking Rowan, I guess. Her neutral is better than yours, but it's not better by so much. Like she has 4B, she has a pressable 5B in neutral, no 5C in neutral that she doesn't have to worry about auto follow up. The issue is that C Hkohaku out rewards you. She reward blocks you. Like the thing you do to a lot of these fucking loser characters, she does to you, and she does it really, really badly. Like off of every single hit, she's taking you to the corner with a tree on top of your head. Meanwhile, off of most of your hits, you will struggle to take her to the corner, let alone get Oki off of your hits. You are running a two-step game plan versus a character with only one step, and that their one-step game plan, even if it's weaker than your two-step game plan, it's just way more consistent because they have better consistency on the ground. They can actually air to ground you because they have JC. They just all these characters that beat or go even are just out consistency H-Kkohaku enough to in order to win games consistently. C Arc. Do I hate fighting C Arc more, or do I hate playing C Roa more? You can't even fucking. I think she goes into dog shit because at least you can smoke or be smoke all these characters. All the characters in these two tiers, you can like H-Kkohaku bullshit with consistency. This character had like the characters with really, really high explosiveness with good defense. Like the only character here that does not out explosive H-Kkohaku and just like shuts down her game plan through raw like neutral force is like Hkohaku. These two are like they don't like eating your game plan, but they can gamble enough in order to make running your game plan a living nightmare. Like, see, Sasuke has 2-2 DP. She has like trying to anti-air her or pin her is extremely difficult due to the nature of Sonic and her dive kick. She's just super duper consistent and neutral. And also the thing that makes her really really bad, she has 2B. Like C Roa 2C, you could argue puts him into dog shit, but I think his neutral his air buttons kind of sell him here because like outside of orb changing his trajectory and stalling him a little bit, he kind of struggles with getting orbs up versus a Hkohaku that's paying attention on the screen. C Arc does not really struggle versus Hkohaku when she's out of the corner. She only ever cares about if she's in the corner versus Hkohaku. Anything else, it's their playtime. She, she, she she's running her block string offense. The way she structures it is like consistent, high-low overheads that are kind of hard to block. Oops, I need that F11 again. Like, I mean, it's C Arc. I don't really need to have to explain why my character does bad into C Arc, but like 2B, 2C, and like 5A, 5B do a fuck ton of heavy lifting in this matchup and make it really, really bad to play it. Because you can't run any sort of consistent game plan versus her because her JC beats your JC. Even on chart, like her JC is active for 10 frames, she can burst it super early, and unless you charge your JC, you just don't get to interact with her in the air when she combines that with Sonic and dive kick. And when you dive kick, you can't even checker block her dive kick because she can just go straight into an air blockable move and air unblockable you, either with DP or with 623X. But you can't block the dive kick because then you're just gambling. Like, we all know C Arc is busted and broken, so let's hurry this up. H Arc, I had all this time to think about her. I think she's a high cortisol win. Her neutral is really, really good, but she's lacking Sonic, and the cross-up JB does not do enough for her to win the matchup super consistently. I think that's my opinion on this character. Like, she's like, again, she's a block string merchant character, so she's like H Rug, and when she's doing that thing where like, oh, I'm block stringing H-Kkohaku, the character who gets block stringed by the rest of the cast pretty hard, so my super strength is not super duper effective versus this character. And every other area of the game, like she doesn't have a real DP other than 2-2C. Her 2-2C is like mid. It's the 2-2B that's super broken on Arc. So she just sort of just struggles in regards to just winning consistently. Like she can get wins. She's probably one of the best characters in high cortisol wins in regards to actually getting games. She's probably the closest to being hard issues, but like she's not that difficult a matchup to play as opposed to C. C Hisui is dog shit, but it's smoke or be smoked. I don't know if this character is worse than C Roa as like an H-Kkohaku. Like this is like probably my hottest take and probably the take that you like. I played versus Josh enough and I've won enough games versus him to understand that this matchup is just like hilariously bad for like I don't even know why. C Hisui just wins neutral so much harder than H-Kkohaku that you are doing all you are trying. You are doing everything you can to not lose as hard. Like think okay, Hime is most definitely the worst of these. Then it's Roa. Then I think it's Hkohaku. Then Yapping. Then H-Kkohaku. I think I'm gonna order the losing matchups, but I'm not gonna order the winning matchups. I think she's at the very end of this tier. If we're being here, like if these are 7.3s, these are like these are 6.5, 3.5s. These are close. Like C Hisui just like does way better in neutral, and her offense is like her Oki is bad, but her block string offense is like it's good enough. I think it's mainly her neutral that's super duper strong versus H-Kkohaku, really. Like there's some things that she doesn't work that doesn't work very strong that doesn't work very well versus H-Kkohaku. But the things that don't, which are like super scrubby things that you usually don't like crush on anyway. Like relying on AD wake up does not work versus Hkohaku because she dashed 2 ways past it. But like literally other than that, this character is like beating you in neutral. She's yaing you and she's plus 10 in your face. And when she's on defense, you have to deal with ceiling mechanics and EX pots and EX dust. Like, she's just super duper consistent and neutral. You can smoke her though. Her guts are not. I don't remember if Hisui has better guts than Hkohaku. I think she might. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But she does lose to the bomb Oki. But like the issue is getting a counter hit clean enough to get you straight into the bomb Oki is very, very difficult. And trying to throw this character is a pita when she is so fast. She's Sonic the Hedgehog. You try to like 2C wait, she will dash 5A at you. Or she will dash 2B. Her 2B is really, really good. It's not as good as like Arc 2B in regards to low profile 5C, but like this character is just broken in neutral versus H-Kkohaku's 2-bit. H-Lan, let's put this in dog shit. This is like, I would much rather play versus an Hime than an H-Lan. I should clarify. I would much rather play into a good Hime than a good H-Lan on this character. It's like what I said about C Whiteland, but like no, she is like Miyako plus F Miyako plus. I put F Miyako in even because she can like explode you and she's playing in areas that you find extremely difficult to contest and she's hard to combo. Like say everything I said about F Miyako, turn it up to 11 and combine that with the most brain dead broken offense in the game, and that's H-Lan. Like normally, again, like I said for so many characters, a character having super strong block swing offense versus H-Kkohaku is no big deal because she just has to eat that stuff generally. But like on this character, she's the only one where she has that and then she leads into a fuzzy. And because the fuzzy deals a lot of damage, you're just screwed. You just can't deal with it. She just kills you. And she's better at neutral than you. Ice completely shuts down your neutral because it's bigger than all of your buttons, more disjointed, and it trades favorably. You just don't win neutral versus her. Like the only thing that prevents her from being like, she is like either top of here or like right here. You can't even hit her. That's the issue. The reason that she gets into this tier as opposed to being at the very top of here is because 2C, 2A, 6-3 OCG doesn't work on her, and you can't even bateau with her consistently. So you just get pwned everywhere. You can't combo her. You can't kill her all that consistently. She's very close to being a smoker, be smoked, but nothing consistently works on her. Her stuff works consistently versus you. You just explode. GG's. F-Lan. Give me 1 second for F-Lan. Oh, before we go into F-Lan, Catwalk exists and shuts down everything H-Kkohaku can do in the air. So if you jump and H-Lan did not jump too, you are immediately put on the back foot and you are losing the interaction. You effectively have to scramble to go back to neutral. As soon as you jump and she is not jumping too, you are effectively at disadvantage because of Catwalk. And H-Lan takes the full control of that better than any other Valence. Like it's not a good game. You can't really like. I would much rather play into C-Arc than H-Lan. These two are about the same. If F Hkohaku, please swap. don't play into F-Kkohaku as H-Kkohaku unless you are really, really stubborn or you really just don't know any other character. Just play something else. Eflin. Bad. Less bad than... She's on the cusp of being even, but I think H-Kkohaku has the tools to deal with Eflin. Mirrors are annoying, but they don't shut down your own projectile. The issue really comes from the fact that she is a slightly better version than Sealand, and she does all the stuff that H-Kkohaku struggles to deal with. She's in the same position as F-Miyako and H-Lan, where she's like in the range of 5B, where she's like diagonal to your head by 45 degrees, and she's populating that area with a bunch of hitboxes that you cannot contest all that consistently. However, she doesn't have ice. If she had ice, she would be smoked, but she doesn't have ice, or she does, it's not super strong. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have ice. She just traded it for Dorito. And Dorito, while strong and while annoying, is not broken. It's not ice. It's not a hyper disjointed tool that pokes you out in neutral, that launches, that you can't trade favorably with, and you can't anti-air. You also can pin F-Flan. Funny as that works, because like no ice, pinnable. You can like as opposed to pinning her with 2C, you pin her with JBs on her way down after she sets up a Dorito. I would much rather play into a C Hime than a F-Len, but like, I don't want to see any lens on my bracket path if I sign up for a bracket. Like, miserable matchup. Like all these like lollies that just fucking JC at you are horrible, unfun to play against. I would love to just like DQ against anytime I see against them in bracket. I don't even like playing versus H-Miyako, and that character sucks. Spike Ball. This needs its own tier. Yeah, it just needs its own tier. Every row below, it's going to also be green. She's you, but for children and way stronger. Unique tier, because I think I do need to specify this. This matchup is probably not like horribly bad, but like we do need to understand that this character is like for children, and it does not take that great a spike ball in order to start giving you issues. Is she worse than fucking Siroa though? No, she has to go here. She's more annoying to deal with than these four characters, because at least you can tell that these people are playing their heart out. I hate all these characters in this tier. I hate all the characters in even. I hate every single character in this tier list. But at least people are trying when they pick these characters. This character, you could slap your little brother on this character and they'd be a problem to an H-Kkohaku player. Way easier, deals way more damage on average because her JC and her buttons just generally do like a 200, 100 extra damage on for no good reason, if we're being completely honest with each other. She just, again, she's you, but for children and way stronger. So you're just going to have to look at yourself and be like, huh, I'm really playing H-Kkohaku in MBAC while my opponent is playing Spike Ball and killing me. How are you supposed to do that? It's you either gap her. You just gotta gap her. Her command throw is way weaker than yours, so you have to like. I accidentally hit stop recording instead of pause record, so I have to continue this. Oopsie. I have to now actually edit this and render it. Oops. Actually, you know what? I'll just do a part 2. There's only like 3 characters left. I got most of it done in like 1 take. It's fine. What was I saying? Spike Ball. You beat her by command throwing her, but that's super duper difficult because she also has a command grab, and she also has way better neutral than you because she has an assist. And her assists are not bad, unlike most of the assists in this game. Like the only other character with good assists is like F-Maze. This character has real assists. She out damages you. She outboxes you. She out rewards you. And her strike throw, while worse, is way easier and as such, it's scarier. Well, it's not scarier, but it's just as scary, despite the fact that it's worse. So she sort of just out rewards, risk rewards you. So she's you for children and way stronger. Sisei also goes in this scare. This character also runs Brain Dead Oki. She's also counter poking people with JA or an air button, but she has smoke or be smoked, I guess. She's more of an issue than these characters, but less of an issue than these characters. I think this character's for children though, so I'm really tempted to put her in this tier. I think it's funnier if I put her in this tier, but if we're being completely honest with you, she deserves to be in this tier. She's going in this tier though, because I think this character is brain dead. One combo character that you can learn and pick up today, and you'll know how to play her. Her Oki is stupid, but like it's not super strong. It's like she just like, how do I even put it? Like being able to have an air unblockable button in the air is just so strong. Dealing with Sokune is not really feasible without serious gappage. And like when she hits you, she full combos you into the other corner, into Oki. The Oki is not super duper strong, but again, every single hit is full combo into the corner, piss easy, and you're eating Oki. It adds up over time. Like H-Kkohaku is a two-step character. She typically needs one hit to get a knockdown, and then she needs to optimize her second hit to actually get bomb Oki. This character, she's you, but for children, one hit and way stronger. H-Kkohaku. She has a block string that's really brain dead and super strong, but like it's a block string and her Oki is not exactly amazing. She's whatever. I need to play Mateo. This goes into its own unique tier. Adva below. I owe Mateo a first 20. That's my opinion on these two characters, actually. And with that, that's 93 characters. But here are my tentative rankings for these not enough datas. This one is probably low cortisol wins. This H-Narrow, I believe, will probably be high cortisol wins or heart issues, but you win. H-Vyakia, I expect to be in heart issues, but you wins, or high cortisol wins. H-Beef is low cortisol wins. H-Sweet, I expect to be in low or high cortisol, no, high or heart issues wins. H-Whitelin, I expect to be either heart issues but you wins or high cortisol wins, or maybe low cortisol. I don't know. I don't have a super strong opinion. I'm going to move H-Knack, not Knack. I'm putting H-Neko here because no one plays that character seriously, so anyone playing that character is free. It's more a player-based issue than a character issue. This I expect to be either low quarter. I had no idea. It could literally be any of these three tiers. It could even be even. I would not be surprised if FARC into H-Kkohaku was even. I just don't know. That's it. That's my matchup tier list, and that's my explanations. 2.5+ hours of explanations for stuff that none of you could even argue with me about. At least not from the H-Kkohaku side. If you have opinions on the matchup from your character side and you think your character might do better or worse into my character than what I think, I would love to hear that. Although I did F up by like not making this video one big video. Now 2 separate videos on my drive that I have to deal and edit with, but like whatever. Bye. Thank you for watching.